So today it's your lecture on international trade. Hope you all are doing fine, and wherever you all are, hope the weather is also fine. So today my focus will be to talk to you all on international trade. But as you know, international trade is a vast subject. Okay, but the purpose of this session today to you all is to give you all an awareness of what international trade is about, so that wherever you may work, say maybe, of course, the special in every bank there's a special area called the trade services department or the import export department. But where you all are concerned, all are doing credit management course. This is the session that I'm making. I'm going to give you all is wherever you may work, whether you work in a branch or you're assistant manager or you're an outstation branch, maybe Colombo or maybe Polonnaruwa or Mathura or where you can identify a potential for you when you see an import-export customer, how to capture the business. The idea of this is that mainly for whatever exams you do in banking, eventually it must benefit your work, otherwise no point. So this is where I'm going to give you all awareness on international trade to ensure that you will be quite confident to approach customers, or if customers approach you on international trade, and make use of that opportunity for a bank. That is the focus of this, apart from this credit management as being a subject in credit management course. So like I told you, whatever we learn, we have to see, we have to put in practical use. So the extent to which I designed this course is more than sufficient for you to confidently talk to customers on import-export trade, or go and canvas business, or opportunity comes your way, how to tackle it. Of course, the intricate, the technical details of handling a trade transaction, international trade transaction, is you all have specialized departments for that, right? For example, like the import-export department, some people call it the trade services department. That is okay. But then the initial requirement is for you to capture this business. You must be confident, whatever grade you may be, whatever position you may be. Other than unless you are specialized in international trade, of course, then because you know the subject. But this, what I'm doing this week, and not next week, the week after next, I told you next week I will not be available. I think I'm quite confident it will be more than sufficient for you to have the confidence to use your knowledge on international trade and capture business, and good for your career as well. Another thing is, even talking on a macro level, right? Say international trade is a global activity, in the sense that it's not like confined to only Sri Lanka. When you say international, I'll explain to you. It's a global activity, right? And as far as I am concerned, as far as I know, there is no country which cannot do without international trade. Okay, so let's on that view, even as a bank, you should know this subject of international trade, because it's a global activity. As you know, bankers, they are I mean, sort of held in high esteem in the society, and therefore subject like international, they expect you to know, be aware of it. So that is the purpose of this course. Having said that, I just tell you, when you start a course, technically, basically, you will want to see how you get attracted to the course. Is one thing is, you will see this subject that I'm doing today. You got up. Luckily, you don't have to come here, but at least your Sunday is broken and you got up. You're sitting wherever you're in your home, and now you're following this session. This session till maybe 12:30, whatever. So you're sacrificing 4 hours for this, whereas on a Sunday you could have done so many things, right? But so this sacrifice that you do has to benefit you. Otherwise, no point in a sacrifice. You must be satisfied that after these 4 hours, and after my next session, the next 4 hours, the 8 hours that you spend, 8 or maybe 8.5, maybe depending on the time, that you have gained something, right? So that is my idea. I hope that after my session, 2 sessions that I do, you all will be confident that the great time of Sunday, no doubt, right, for working people, and especially ladies, they have a lot of homework to do. They are sacrificing, and being in this course, I want you all to feel confident that after the 2 sessions I do, that you will feel that your sacrifice is worth it. right? Apart from the exam I'm talking about, right? Apart being a subject of trade management course, that is, I'm saying talking about apart from that. Now, now in my area, uh, basically what I will be covering to you is, like I said, international trade. Now when you are doing a subject like that, you will see whether the subject is relevant to you. Is it worth? Is it something that you should know as a banker? Okay, that I'll show you, right? Then of course you will want to know. Okay, this subject is a useful subject to know. I know about it, but is this lecturer having enough experience to teach this subject? So going on that, I'll just tell you briefly about take about a minute. Just tell you who I am, right? My name, as you know, is Nilam Jumat. I started banking in 1978, and I'm sure most of you would have been born, right? So I started banking in 1978 as a bank we call bank assistant, but as a bank clerk at commercial bank. Immediately, I went to commercial bank. They put me into the imports department. That is, I started my job at the imports department. So working through commercial bank, I was in commercial bank till 1993, where I got promoted various grades, staff officer, executive, and became a senior executive at the credit department in doing facilities in the foreign branch, mainly international trade facilities. Okay, all customers do import export. I was one of the credit officers for that. So, which means that from 1978 to 1993 in commercial bank, I was handling international trade. Then in 1993, I left and joined HSBC Saudi Arabia, right, which is formerly known as Saudi British Bank. Now it is known as HSBC globally. It's HSBC Bank, formerly known as Saudi British, now it is HSBC. I was at HSBC Saudi Arabia from 1993 to 2004, right? In 2004, I decided to come back, and I came then in from 1990 to 2004. Also, I was in charge of trade. I was head of trade and deputy manager in various stages, and finally, I was head of trade in Riyadh at HSBC. Okay, then I worked in Jeddah also as head of trade, and then I came back to Sri Lanka and joined Het National Bank. Now you see, from 1978 to 2004 also, I have done only one job, that is international trade. In Sri Lanka Commercial Bank, HSBC Saudi Arabia also has been international trade, right? Then coming back 2004 to Sri Lanka, I joined Het National Bank. I joined Het National Bank as a chief manager, that also in charge of international trade. Okay, so then from 2004 to 2015, I worked at HNB, involved in international trade, and I retired as an assistant general manager for international trade and financial institutions. So you can see my experience has been from 78 up to 2015 till I retired, has been always on international trade. I don't know, you might be thinking, oh, such a boring job you have been doing, but in it was quite interesting. That's fate. You have to earn your monthly salary. So whatever job is going, I have to do it. Incidentally, my whole career has been on international trade. I have not done any other part of banking, but other than international trade. Now with this, you can judge whether this person who is lecturing to you has enough knowledge to talk to you, give you an awareness on trade for the next two, this weekend, this Sunday and the Sunday after next, right? Then you are confident, you'll have to find out whether the subject is worthwhile, the person lecturing is worthwhile, and what is the incomes that you can draw from your international trade for your business, right? Of course, in income wise, we'll see later on. In international trade, you have three types of income. Okay, unlike other products, you might have a thing called fee income, where for handling international trade transactions, you also, like other products, you'll have a fee, a commission for the services you can provide, right? That is what you call fee income, right? Then you will earn a thing called non-fund income. When I say fee income is where you don't advance any money, right? It's not related to funds, just for services, right? Sometimes they call it non-fund income. Not, you don't give money, You don't get money income on money, but you don't lend, but for services. That is one. Some may call it fund fee income. Someone say non-fund income. Varies, depends. So their funds are not involved. Then you come international trade. There is an area where you can grant loans. You can give facilities, right? Where you be advancing money. Then there you what you learn? You learn fund income, like interest. What you call interest, right? That is called fund. So you earn non-fund income and fund income. That is two. In international trade, the beauty of it is that there's a third income. That is what you call foreign exchange income, right? Or forex, they call it forex, which means that there is in a part of international trade, there's a transaction of international currencies, right? Buying and selling of currencies, right? It involves international trade. Of course, when you are doing local, say, pawning or housing loan, whatever things like consumer loans in locally, you don't have that income. But international trade, you get additional income, right? That is foreign exchange income. So therefore, now you see, in international trade, you have three types of income. Okay, now you will be able to sort of get some idea what is the subject I'm going to sacrifice 8 or maybe 2 Sundays. What is the subject? Is it worthwhile? One is it a subject that matters, or is it a small subject? Second one is the lecturer capable of lecturing. Third one is what is the income you will get for your bank or whatever. What is how much income you get? So I explain those three to you, right? Then of course, presentation wise, I hope I can pitch exactly to your level where you understand. I should not pitch too high, neither should I pitch too low. But in this session, you'll have a mix. Some people may be very good in trade, some people might know trade, some people may not know anything in trade. So you will have to excuse me, I have to pitch it somewhere where it will be conducive to everybody. So that's the level I thought of pitching, right? Now, so that is the thing. So those are things for you to consider. Now you can think whether it is worthwhile my sacrificing these 2 Sundays. Then, now going a little now generally my first session will be a bit on a macro level, right? Talking to you on what is trade, why do you need trade, what is trade happening? It's all macro level, right? Then I will go into a little detail of international trade, right? Not totally technical, but somewhat. That is like a thing called methods of payment. In that methods of payment, one specialized area that I'll be covering is letters of credit. Okay, letters of credit, I'll be covering that area. Right. Once I do letters of credit, that's a payment method. Then I will go on to thing called before that I'll be doing risk. International trade, every business there's a risk, right? So what are a basic understanding for you on what is risk in international trade? Then payment methods, then about LCs, and then a thing called Incoterms, right? I'll explain all that. So this will be my area which I will be covering these 2 weeks. Okay. Now, to start off, excuse me, see me drinking some water on and off, so excuse me. Actually, like hundreds of seats empty, it's very saddening, but anyway. Right, now, okay, what is trade? Why do you need to trade? What is trade? Like, for example, you trade in something, generally, what do you trade in? You're trading, what trade basically means that you are giving something that you have in excess, right? You have enough for yourself and you want to trade it and get something that you don't have or you have less, right? That is what you trade. Even simply when you go with the family, right? You say one person might order, say, caramel, another person orders ice cream, right? Now you eat caramel and you're quite full, like you feel full, but you see that ice cream, you like it. So you might ask your brother, okay, I'll give you a little caramel, can you give me a little ice cream, right? That's because you had sufficient caramel, you're quite full about it, you had something extra, so you want to get it in. Then ask your brother or sister, whatever, can you have eaten ice cream? No, you give me a little, which will trade. I give the caramel, you give the, like that. So basically what it means is you trade. I make it very simple, okay? Now we don't have to be too technical. What you're doing is you're trying to give something that you have in excess and get something you don't have, right? For example, you want to take your home, right? Now, what is like my wife, what she does? She'll ask the servant, what is it? What are the things short for at home? So, for example, she'll say, Nona seen, right? So what happens is Now my wife, she says there's no sugar to make tea. So we need sugar. We have finished our sugar. So what does my wife do? What does she have in excess? She has what? She thinks, oh, what do I have? No, flour. No, I need to make rotis. Rice. No, we need to eat in the afternoon. What do I have there? Oh, I think I have some money. Money I have in my almirah, which I can exchange for. So what she does is she goes to a shop, right? And she's exchanging one item, some commodity, right? Say money. She gives money to the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper gives her sugar, right? That's it. The intention of why she did the trade, because she had something, maybe money in the almirah which she did not want at the moment, she can part with, and she parted that and got something that she doesn't have. So basically this is what you mean we call trade. So talking on what is trade, now there are trade also. You can have two types of trade, right? One is domestic trade, okay, and one is international trade. Now, domestic means simple thing. Domestic is domestic, like you say, your house, or I got a domestic servant or something. I got a domestic at home. That means inside, okay, within in your house, right? Like that, when you say domestic trade, it means trade within the country. Okay, within your country. Trade within your country is known as domestic trade. Is that clear? I hope it's clear, right? Then you have a thing called international trade, right? Now, see, the international trade is nothing technical. If you see the word international, it's just a general English term. Inter, that is between, national, nations, trade. So, trade between nations, that is known as international trade. So, when two countries trade, when countries trade among each other, then that is known as international trade, right? So, you know what is domestic trade? Domestic trade is within the country, and international trade is trade between countries. Okay, is that clear? I hope that's clear now. Okay, so we'll go gradually, and then so now I'll get on to the next slide. Now, this I'm trying to show you, right? You don't have to get alarmed about this. Oh my God, he's going to show me some figures, some big figures, and how he's supposed to memorize this for the exam. And some of him will be thinking, oh, how can I memorize such a lot of figures when you have some others? I know this is not for you to memorize, okay? This is just basically telling you what is the volume of exports and imports our country does, right? It varies year to year. Now, this year varies different. The amount of imports you do will vary according to the policies of the government, policies of which various central bank regulations. All that, don't worry. I'm only talking on the trade side of it, not about the policies or whatever that central bank regulations. I'm not talking about those, but just general trade. So this is the trade that was done by Sri Lanka between January December 2018 and January December 2019, right? Now here you see exports. Okay, now okay. Now what is exports? This thing called imports. What is the difference between the two? What is the difference between the two? Right. Now, when you say export, that again is English word, okay? Export means exiting the port, is going out of the port. Say Port of Colombo, for example, export means you're sending out of the port, right? And when you say import, import means goods coming into the port, right? Now I know you're a bit confused, right? And this confusion has been there since I started banking. So anyway, I'll explain to you. Now you're saying, you will say, you said export is exiting the port, right? Then you're talking about import and you're saying it's coming into the port. Well, why did they not term that as imports, INPORTS, instead of IMPORTS, right? Well, that explanation, though not very relevant, it's just a word. But anyway, I've been asked this question by others a couple of times in the last. I've been lecturing since I came from Middle East in 2004, no, maybe 16 years. On and off, I'm getting this question as to why this is done. So why it became imports and not imports, IN. Well, I told them, right, you see, guys, the thing is that, actually, if you say exports, going exit the sports, right, fine, that's good. And imports, technically, logically, coming into the boat should be imports, right? So I told them, maybe in those days, right, the typewriter keyboard is the same everywhere. I just checked and saw. I find that N and M are very close, right? So I told him that maybe the intention of the original person who originated this word would have been imports. But instead of typing imports, he went and typed IMP instead of IN, right? Right. So then it should have been imports. He typed as IM because M is next to M, N and M are close to each other on the keyboard. So maybe from that day it is known as imports. And that's about the explanation, right? It's not material, but just think, right? Because naturally, if I'm trying to explain to you that exports is exiting the port, obviously you say imports should be known as imports instead of saying imports, right? So maybe that's the reason. So I don't know. Maybe I think my explanation is that again keyboard you see N and M are close by. So therefore, most probably when they're trying to put N, they put M. Okay. So okay, now assume imports. Imports are goods coming into the country. Exports means something that is sent out of the country. Right. What is this sending in and bringing in, sending out and bringing in? Right. I'll briefly explain that part to you. Now, the world is doing trade, right? Now, if you do trade with, say, Europe, right? Or say, for example, you want to do with Germany, right? And you want to sell. What do we normally export? You can see here garments, rubber products, gem diamonds, jewelry, machinery, all that. Okay, right. First, I'll keep you all at ease. You all don't have to memorize this. Huh? These are only I told macro level understanding. Okay, so don't worry about the figures. To think about whether you're going to get questions on how much was import. No, that's not what you're going to get, right? Anyway, that I don't. They'll test you on that. No, that's not required. Now, we export tea, rubber, games, jewelry, all this blah blah we are exporting, right? Then what we do is if we export tea to say Germany, for example, or Saudi Arabia, right? Now we are using Sri Lankan rupees, right? Now can we tell Saudi Arabia to give us rupees? No. That's not the way it works, right? Now what happens is I'll not. I think you all would have covered this in treasury areas or whatever, but I'll make it I'll talk on a very top surface, like for you to understand. What the international trade business does is all these countries. You see, if you take all the countries, there'll be thousands of currencies, right? All types of currency, every country. But the international trade takes place in certain recognized currencies. Okay, euro, yen, then dollar, right, Singapore dollar, whatever, right? So now what we'll do is we will take one currency, dollars, right? Dollars seems to be lot of countries who like to deal with dollars. They like the currency dollars, not a commodity. So what the Sri Lankan, say for example, when Sri Lanka, right, say what do we need mostly in the country? What do we need? What do we need? We need, say, petroleum. Right, that's very important. All the machinery to work, the dams to work, then cars to run, vehicles to run, production, manufacturing, all machinery to work. So we need the oil, right? So we'll say we are buying oil from Saudi Arabia, right? Now we go and tell Saudi Arabia, Mr. King, upset. All right, thank you, thanks. Now we tell the king of Saudi Arabia, my dear friend, we have a lot of tea, right? So we can give you tea. Can you give us some oil? We have excess, we drink our tea and we have excess tea. Can you give us oil? What the king says is, you see, I'm getting tea from Kenya, India, all these other countries. I get tea, man. I don't need tea. But I can give you oil if you want. Then we say in Sri Lanka, we say, how can we give you, you are not taking our tea, no? Then how can I uh, buy your oil, buy your oil? You are not taking my tea, no? Then Saudi says, no, no, tea is one item, no, that time you want to give me. I'll ask you for another item. Can you please give me that item? Right. I will give you oil. Saudi king says, I will give you oil, right? But if you don't have tea, can you give me that commodity called US dollars? Okay, I'm talking about one currency just for the moment and for example to explain to you, right? Can you give me US dollars? Sri Lanka, do you have US dollars, man? I don't want a tea, right? Then he says, oh, why do you want US dollars? Why you don't want me tea? I told you, I told you I have enough tea, but I need dollars. So what are you trying to do with your dollars? Why do you need dollars? Well, Sri Lanka is asking. Then Saudi Arabia says, look here, my friend, I want to import some cars from Japan, right? And I told them, we are Saudi Arabia, we can give you oil, right? Can you give me some cars? The Toyota, Nissan, Mitsubishi, whatever, right? Then Japan says, no, no, please. We all the other Gulf countries and all South America, all we have enough oil coming in, right? So we don't need oil. If you want cars, I can give you. But other than oil, can you give me another commodity? You know, what's the commodity? Okay. So the Japan guy is asking the Saudi guy, do you have dollars? If you give me dollars, I'll give you the cars. Right? I hope you have got it right. Then the Saudi guy is asking the Japanese guy, he said, why do you want dollars, man? Why don't you want my oil? He said, I have got enough oil. I told you, we have enough oil. I don't need it. If you can give me dollars, then I will give you the cars. Then Saudi guy is asking the Japanese guy, why man you don't want my oil? Why are you asking dollars for? I am asking you dollars because I want to import some dolls for children of Japan. Families want dolls for their children. So I want to import some dolls from Hong Kong. When I went and told Hong Kong that, in Japan and I told Hong Kong, I can give you cars, can you give me some dolls? The Hong Kong guy said, no, we don't want vehicles. Hong Kong is totally flooded with vehicles. Matter of fact, if you get into a traffic jam in Hong Kong, you will be there for hours. So now we are trying to reduce the vehicle. We don't need vehicles. We have enough vehicles. Then I want the dolls, Japanese guy says. Yeah, if you want dolls, then you give me what I'm asking you, the Hong Kong guy says. He asked the Hong Kong guy, what are you asking? He says, I want dollars. Right? Then I'll give you dollars. Now you see the chain. So if the Japanese guy has dollars and gives the Hong Kong guy, then Hong Kong guy will give the dollars to the Japanese guy, right? Okay. Now for Japanese guy to get dollars, if the Saudi guy gives dollars to the Japanese guy, then the Japanese guy will give cars to the Saudi guy, right? Then if the Saudi guy, if Sri Lanka gives dollars to the Saudi guy, right, and takes the oil, then the Saudi guy can give those dollars to the Japanese guy and get cars. Japanese guy will give those to the Hong Kong guy and buy the dollars, right? This is how it goes. So this commodity called dollars is like a investment commodity where everybody is willing to accept to change. Now I will not go to the monetary theory and how it's happening, all these things, right? But basically, it looks like there's a commodity called dollars which everybody wants. Like there are some other currencies. I told you I'll take only one currency, euro or whatever. So assume. So now Sri Lanka also realizes, oh no, when we go to buy something from somebody, sometimes they will take, some countries they'll want our tea, they'll take our tea, right? Now we also need dollars, right? So what does Sri Lanka do? Sri Lanka goes to, say, Oman, right? You say Oman, right, for example, and tells Oman, Oman comes and says, Oman comes to Sri Lanka and says, we want to buy some tea. Yes, Oman, can say the end of Oman, right? The ruler then says, we want to buy tea. Yes, he'll say you can buy tea. In exchange, Oman says, we have oil, we can give you oil. Do you want? Then Sri Lanka says, no, 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 we don't want the oil. We have enough oil. But if you want our tea, you must give dollars, right? So from Sri Lanka, tea will go to Oman, and Oman will pay dollars to Sri Lanka, right? Using that dollars, we will pay Saudi Arabia and get what we want, and chain goes on like that. So therefore, basically what you realize is that Sri Lanka needs to have commodity that they can freely exchange and buy things from outside world. Okay. So that is what you call when you earn all dollars. Okay, one currency, right? So when we do exports, when we sell, like we have textile garments, rubber products, gems, diamonds, machinery, petroleum products, tea, rubber, coconut, spices, seafood. Frankly speaking, this I listed maybe not in a generalized form. When I took the book from Export Development Board, you can go, you can buy that book there, right? Oh my God, I think there's nothing that we are not exporting. We are exporting so many things, you know. We are exporting so many things. So these are the list. So now now coming back to my point, what I'm trying to tell you is we are exporting. This is what I call export. We export these things and earn so much of dollars. Here for industrial products, we are earning nine. This is in $9,000, $9,208 million. So about $9 million, right? Then we go down, we go down, we go. Finally, total exports. Look here, right? Don't worry about all this. Just for you to read the matter. Now here you come here, exports. You are getting $11,889. It means $11.8 billion we earn. We export these goods and $11.8 billion we earn. Right? I hope I'm clear on that. Up to there. It's okay. I trust it's okay. Okay. And then after that, now what happens? Export, these are commodities that we export, send out the port and earn. So we earned $11.8 billion. Right? Okay, let's see. Now we come to imports. Can you see this? Consumer, they categorize into various stuff, right? Consumer goods and non-food. Now, as you know, personally, there are a lot of restrictions on consumer goods, and all this in total imports is $22 billion, right? $22 billion is the import amount, quantum. Now, if you remember, in exports, we earned 11 billion, right? But that is, we are selling for 11 billion and buying for 22 billion, right? Basically, we are spending 22 billion and earning 11 billion. Can you see what are we doing? What are the exports or imports are we doing? Consumer food and beverages, all this, okay? Non-food items, then immediate goods that are used for production. When textiles, when you want to manufacture textiles and export garments, use that, right? Fertilizer to produce agriculture, tea, rubber, coconut, spices, clothes, all that you need, paper, whatever you need, this fertilizer, then you can get it. Okay. Then comes the machinery for your production and for development, road development, building, construction, all that. Okay, making roads and infrastructure, infrastructure development. These are categorized items of imports, right? You can see it. Now, you can see the total imports is 22 billion, right? And our exports is 11 billion. We have spent 22 billion and earned 11 billion. Okay. Now, when you talk about that, right, it is like us, no? Individually. Even this is what the country has done. They have spent 22 billion and earn only 1 billion. Even we human beings, I know about you all, I think most of us, we also do the same thing, no? You earn a salary, you say your salary 50,000 rupees a month, you end up spending about 70,000 rupees, right? The balance 20,000, you somehow borrow from somebody or do something and earn something like that, and then you make it. So you always tend to spend more than you earn. With due respect to people who don't do it, but I am one of them also, right? So not only so majority of the population doing this means the countries are doing the same thing. They are spending more and earning less, right? Right, on exports. Now, when a situation like this comes, say for example, there are, see the consumer goods, if you see, right, is only $4.9 billion. Can you see? 4.9, okay? Three will come down. Don't worry about the trend, you just see the figures only. Approximate level, right? So dairy product and all that. Then non-food consumer products, right? What is this? It is about how much? See, only 2.5 million. What do you know? Like vehicles, your home plans, blenders, TVs, refrigerators, laptops, these, all that, right? These are non-food consumer. See, it's only 2.5 million, right? But out of the 19 billion, right? So say for 2019, 2.5 billion is only non-food. Like you can see, like luxury items, like like these TVs and 16-inch TVs and 100-inch TVs and all these things, right? Okay, setups and all that. But see the rest, 17 billion, all important items. See, fuel, textile articles. You want to import textiles and textile garments. You have to buy textiles to manufacture garments. Then fertilizer. If you want to export agricultural products, you need fertilizer. Then you need machinery equipment to develop your roads. Then to make factories, right? To then transport equipment, you need to move the goods to you need the containers, right? Then you get building materials. So all these are more essential items, isn't it? Fuel you need, textile you need. Then see here, even though we have to eat and drink and people have to survive, dairy products, sugar, spices, right? So these are certain things that but our non-food consumption is only 2.5 million, not much, right? Compared to 19 million. So what we are trying to say is that we need imports, right? We need imports, okay? So when you need imports, so so that means if the imports is a must, right? Now see, you can't say no at home. And if you're the father and say lunch today rice, no rice, right? Children drink water and sleep. You can't say that, no, right? You need the rice, right? Children have to eat. You want vegetable, bread night, no bread, drink water and sleep. You can't say that like that. Only this country also, right? No, country can't say no dairy product, nobody eats anything, no machinery equipment, no need to import this. Can't do that. Right? These are some mandatory. Out of totally mandatory items, this is the non-consumer. You can say maybe we can sacrifice, okay? But other things are quite essential. So what we need to do is we need to have foreign currency to meet this 10 to 19 billion worth of imports. We need foreign currency. Now we are exporting. Exporting, we have got 11 billion. Okay. Now see, we are short 11 billion. So do you think that's a good thing? No, I think that's not a good thing. What we need to do is we must try to earn this money because our country, you see, we are one of the luckiest people to be born in Sri Lanka. Although Sri Lanka is very small, because we have so much of natural resources, our weather conditions. We are talking about it rains today, hundreds and hundreds. Oh my God, it's raining. Trees are flying. We see all that. But when you compare with some of the cyclones that are going around the world, like in all developed countries, blowing up the whole cities, just imagine. Don't you think we are lucky people? See, natural resources. Do we need? Do anybody has natural resources like we have? No. See, Singapore, they don't have, right? So you see, we are weather-wise, everything. I think people who are about to be born in Sri Lanka are very lucky, actually, right? We are a lucky country. We have all things we require. Anybody can survive here, right? So now, see, now we said 19 billion. Now 11 billion was the input. Now we are having a shortfall. So what is happening is our exports are less than our imports, right? So we should strive to see that we develop our exports, increase our exports, as well as look for how do we do that. First thing is our production should be increased in a good manner, in a profitable manner, right? Agriculture should be done properly. We should ensure that our tea harvesting is very good, our prices are very good, okay? And we should globally capture the market, right? What is the import? What is the market we're looking for? We need to make $22 million, right? $22 million, right? So we must see the market, the world market. Where can we get this 20 million? What can we send? We don't have this. No. What about handicrafts? People have handicrafts, jewelry, studded jewelry, gems. See how many things are exporting. Minerals, right? What a lot of things Sri Lanka has. Like I told you when I took their book, export on board, book which gives details all the exports. You can, if one you can ask for your bank, you can take a copy and see it also. You wonder, what are we not exporting? What are we not exporting? Everything we're exporting, right? We have a lot of potential. Then, then we've got a big, huge world market also. Then I'll come to the go to the next slide. Okay. Now what is happening? Our exports are 11 million and our imports are 19 million. We are short, right? So sometimes if you don't have dollars, you will not be able to buy importing. So the risk is that if you don't have enough dollars, this one will say non-food item we can stop. Don't need televisions. We don't need. We can have three houses can see one television. Vehicles we don't need. Right, four families can often the lane can travel one vehicle. All okay, right? But see the only medical pharmaceutical we have only 553 million, right? But other items like food or medical, textiles, intermediate goods, these are all what you need. So if you don't have dollars, you can be in a quite a tough situation, right? Okay. So therefore, we must try to do what we have, try to develop it, right? It is within us, right? Such a big market, the world market. We will see. I'll show you something about how much the world market is, right? And we should try to improve export. That's why if you can see in banks, central bank regulations, they give lot of incentives for people who are doing exports, right? They are giving, like you would have heard of these exporters. If they want to do an export, they can borrow in dollars, right? Right? Because why are they giving dollars? Because they're saying if this man exports, say we give him a dollar loan for $100, he might export some tea and get $125. His profit may be $25, for example. So the country gets net, he gets $120, right? But when the country says giving in dollars, what it means is it gives, obviously, if a person wants to buy handicrafts from some town in outstation town, the bank is not giving you dollars to go and pay the handicraft manufacturer dollars, right? Technically, basically what happens is you will give the dollars equivalent loan, they'll give in rupees, that you can go and give to the handicraft guy the rupees. Okay, he needs rupees. Okay. Of course, you might ask me, then what about indirect export? No, let us not involve all that indirect export can have dollar loans. I won't go in, don't confuse yourself with all those things. Just assume if a person wants to buy dollar, right, that you get how indirect exporters can maintain US dollar accounts. No, let us not go into details so much like that. But just basically understanding, okay, you want to go to Pilimatala Candy and buy handicrafts, okay? What do you do? Handicrafts by means that's what we will make manufacture guy, he'll have to buy cane, he'll have to put laborers, he'll have to pay in rupees. So he'll ask rupees. So what the bank does is, if you are an exporter and going to export, they will give you a thing called a dollar facility loan, right? Which means, say, if you are borrowing $100, say $1,000, okay, they will give you the equivalent in rupees, and which you can go and buy the handicraft, right? Now, say if they give you $1,000 and you're getting an order for $1,250, that means your profit is $250. So when you export, the country gets $1,250, right? So therefore, we are that $1,250 that the customer, our exporter gets, comes into the country. Now the country can use that $1,250 to use it on something for imports, to pay import bills, right? That's right. Understand? Basically, that's why we need to. So that's when you say the bank is we need to give dollar loans to exporters. What they mean, if you are taking a rupee loan, okay? Now rupee rate has dropped a lot, right? But normally when everything gets back and say the normal lending rate 13-14%, for example, we say, right? Now the rates have dropped and a lot of policy changes taking place for maybe short term, long term, eventually to make the country develop and come to get the economy moving. But we'll say, for example, you say you want to borrow normal loan, say 14%, a rupee loan, right? Now the exporter borrows a loan at 14%, right? He has 14% of his profit is gone because he has to pay the interest. So if he buys at $100, he takes $100 rupee loan and say he gets 114, then 14% of that income means his 14% gone for the interest. So no point. So he cannot make much money. So what the international market dollar rates are low, right? Say for some banks may say 4%, some banks may 5%. say, if he gets a loan at 5%, okay, from the bank, isn't it better than getting a loan for 14%? Definitely better, no? It's cheaper. 9%, you get a difference. So therefore, what he does is, he says, I am exporter. Then the bank says, okay, I will give you a loan at dollar rates. You'll get dollar rate, 5%. Because you're going to bring dollars for us, right? Then, so that facility is given to that exporter. He'll export and get dollars to the country. The country can use very much to buy things abroad, right? Or to pay others, to pay our suppliers, or pay our, we go and buy who, our sellers who are selling to us, we can pay them on imports, right? Right. Now, the question is, right, now see that incident. Now, for example, will the bank think and say, or will the central bank say, no, we will give importers also dollar at dollar loans at 5%, right? Now he wants to import a car. Right? He wants to import a car. He wants to import an Audi, okay? With no bias to people who are owning Audis, okay? Just for example, just for explanation. So he wants to buy an Audi. Now we say Audi cost maybe say $200,000, right? Or whatever we amount, Land Rover, whatever, $200,000, right? Just example, $200,000, whatever. Now, so if our Sri Lankan imports a Land Rover or something to country, right? We have to pay $300,000 to the supplier. What is happening? Our dollars will be going out. We are losing our dollars. And what do we get? We get a Land Rover to run the road and do what? Show elite society? No. So does the country gain? Only what is happening in the country? Country is spending the what? Spending the dollars. It goes to the country. All the dollars we earn with exports is going for a person to buy a Land Rover, to run on the road and show that I got a Land Rover. Right? So therefore, that is why imports means earning foreign currency. Exports mean imports means spending foreign currency. Exports means earning foreign currency, right? So earning foreign currency is what is need of the country, not spending the dollars by imports, right? So therefore, that is why they give exporters to borrow loans on dollar rates, but not for importers. Importers, why should we support importers? Right? They are, what are they doing? They are sending, they are only helping us to finish our foreign currency, right? Whereas exporters, they are bringing foreign currency. Understand? So therefore, that is why there is more incentive for people who are bringing foreign currency, or for activities that are bringing foreign currency, rather than for people who are doing activities with such where the country loses the dollars, right? Right. So therefore, that is why all the central bank and all the banks are giving a lot of incentives for exporters, because there are people who are going to bring currency, which currency we can use and buy importing like medication, machinery, fuel, all that we need for development of the economy and of the country. Okay. So having said that, now we came to a situation where we find that we are actually, our import bill is bigger than the export bill. Okay. Now that is means, what do you call that is, right? Now there is a, we call that deficit in the trade account, right? Now if you see the figures, in 2019 we were short by $7 billion. That means our import bill exceeded. Oh, that means your country is quite difficult, isn't it? We don't have money to buy. We are short. We're not making enough foreign currency to pay for import bills. What do we import? To pay for imports, our exports are not sufficient. We must increase. So that's not a good deficit trade account. Means it's not very healthy for a country. Okay. Okay, right. Having said that, what is the alternative way of how do we meet this shortfall? How we will meet these shortfalls is by way of a thing called worker remittances. See, what is worker remittances? Worker remittances means when people who are working abroad, right, they earn money and they send money into Sri Lanka for their families for use. They send what they earn dollars. I mean, of course, I said only one currency I'm taking. They can earn euros, whatever, or yen or whatever, right? But They take all the dollars and they send it to our country. What is how banks do? They get the dollars, central bank gives the dollars into various bank accounts and give the family relations conversion and give the rupees. So the country has the dollars. See, they are supporting us for dollars, right? So according to the amount of money that comes in, right, we have work remittances came up to 6.7 billion. So this is supporting no exports we were short, but then by work remittances they are supporting. See how much people are right. Now if I ask you, work remittance, who are the workers, right? Now, you all are not here, but I have my experience in this. When I ask this class, tell me who are these people who are sending the money, right? Your first, always I get the answer, right? I don't know why we get it, I get it, but anyway, this is what I get it. First, they'll say housemaids, right? Then they'll say drivers, right? Now, the salaries of these housemaids and the drivers are very, very small. But they are not the only people who are there who send money. There are doctors, there are surveyors, there are accountants, there are company directors, company presidents, there are bankers, right? So many other specialized people who are doing very much high jobs and earning very much higher salary, very much remittance value in remittance than what a house drive will, right? But very rarely do I get somebody when I ask them telling, at least saying, yes, we have doctors, lawyers, whatever, not lawyers, yeah, but not much you get, but because like Middle East the area and Middle East general lawyers also you get in Arabic required, but say like doctors, bankers, accountants, right, engineers, so like that. But no, generally we say straight away husband drivers. I also ask my class actually. No, I also went to a bank. No, I work. No, right? Did I work as a driver or anything? No, right. So my friends, Sri Lanka has a superb talented people. We are, all the countries who have taken up the people who go. My experience, I've been there for more than almost 12 years. I can tell you any Sri Lankan working in a bank, right? Very rarely have I come that the people in the Middle East like to release them, right? They are very good workers. Actually, every Sri Lankan has made a name. I'm very proud to say that. In my departments, I had so many Sri Lankans working. Sri Lankans are held in high esteem by the Middle East people, right? So we have very, very qualified people. So we are happy about it. So not that always we have only the ask question, who are the worker remitters, state answer comes, housemaids, drivers. No, it's not, no, guys, not that. It's we have very, very qualified people, big doctors, famous doctors. Who at gatherings, I meet them, right? When I was there, I used to meet them. He's very proud. Sri Lanka has a lot of talent, lot of top guys who are doing big jobs there. Okay, so a mix of those, right? Not only husband, right? Everybody, right? Doctors, lawyers. I'm sorry, doctors, bankers, accountants, maybe little lawyers, maybe presidents of companies, financial controllers. My God, financial directors, everything. Okay? So you get all these people who work abroad are sending us 6.7 billion worth of dollars. So see how good we were short of $7. They already sent us 6-7 billion, right? That is how we are able to little raise our. Then comes the next way of earning money is from tourism. Why do you say tourism? How can tourism? Why? Tourists, when they come to the country, how do they come? They bring their currency. They are dollars. We say, like I said, I'll talk only about dollars. Say they bring dollars, right? They bring dollars, encash the dollars, and we give the rupees for them to spend in the country. So by that, they pay the hotel bill, they pay for transport, they pay for food, they buy items to take back to their countries. All they are using their foreign currency, right? So the other thing is, other way of earning is tourism. Okay, right? 3.5 million comes from tourism. Then, of course, the other one, like saying inflows to government, this can be by way of borrowings and bonds and whatever. We borrowing by various different bonds. So generally, it's like we're borrowing, which eventually we have to pay back. So this item, I feel that we should not focus think of only increasing this. We should think of not this item as main, right? This should be right. Actually, we trying to reduce this item over a period. And I'm sure Sri Lanka will come to the level where we can not depend on this item very much. Okay. Hopefully, country will move towards that way, and with all all working towards it, we can achieve that. Okay. Then comes foreign direct investment. This is where when you say FDIs, foreign direct investment, where foreign companies come and invest in Sri Lanka, and they open up factories, for example, free trade zones and certain projects they do, and they what they do is they come and bring investments. They bring their capital. Maybe they'll bring by equipment or whatever. They have all foreign currency. They have capital. Everything they bring here, and then they manufacture. Then they give employment for Sri Lankans. We work in these companies, and then they do exports, right? And they export their goods. Certain amount what they manufacturing goes, and a certain amount of dollars come in. So people who come and invest, that is another way money comes in. When people come and invest their monies, their dollars in Sri Lanka. Like I said, it can be euro, it can be other, but I'm talking about dollars, right? So when they come and invest, right, then we are getting 770 million, that's just figures, okay? Now see, we were short of this $7 billion, right? Now we are working 6 billion, tourism 3 billion, influence government 6 billion, and this much, right? So all these factors circumvent and support to overcome the shortfall which we are having due to exports being lower than imports. That is trade deficit, trade account deficit, right? So ideally, we should try to reduce this by exports, our own products. Because as you know, worker remittance also now what is happening in this present situation, I don't know what worker remittance going to happen in the future. There is a recession in the whole globally affected with the COVID, and people are losing jobs, people are coming back. So we may not have this may not that much, but tourism costs maybe over a period of few months, the country, the world globally gets back. They also have money to come, isn't it? They are in those jobs. So then this also will increase, right? Then direct investment, right? So if you can increase export need services, goods and services, all they need, right? Foreign countries will need. So you can increase this. That's the idea. That's why government gives a lot of incentive. Even tourism, the loans now they are in trouble. The bank, the government gives moratorium and moratorium you can pay later and interest free for the period. All that is happening, right? But this area is also a bit now vulnerable. But anyway, this is nothing. All these factors that are affecting tourism, remittances, all these things what we're talking is a global thing, or whole globally affected. No, the whole world is affected. So this is, will be a. We have gone through several. If you have seen some of the paper writings, you can see we have gone through these plagues and all these sicknesses. Periodically, the world come experience these things, right? And then we survive. After that, we survive. We come back, but it only takes a little time. So I'm sure we'll also survive and come back to much stronger. Right now, you can see in Sri Lanka also, I think we are absolutely much brilliantly better than other countries. Anyway, now going to the next one, right? Now this is, wait. Now this is for you, and these figures I must tell you very sorry, but these are not very latest figures, right? But these are some figures I got. Can you see in international global trade, right? Can you see the volume of trade that is done, man? Just minerals, will say, they are import export business. Somebody is buying from somebody exporting to this, right? They will how to buy. 2 trillion 183 billion 799,941,000, right? See, 2 trillion, right? Then see this is 1 point. So totally mean to global trade for these products, right? For these products, right? Okay, for these products you see is is about and oh, just 1 minute, what happened to him? 1 minute. Right, you can see that I'm looking for this icon to put this full screen. Okay, now you can see the total trade is 9 trillion 340 million 405,000. See, and what at that time when I took the figures, our total trade, import and export put together was only 21 billion. So see, now you can see the potential. If you look out in the market a little, what we can get in this, right? 21 billion of import export total trade of the country, our country, against this is what is trade going on in the market, 9 trillion. So you see, ours is nothing much. So therefore, it looks like there is some potential for us to do better in increase our exports, right? That's clear, isn't it? Just give a minute. Huh? Little, I have whole pieces, I know that, but I know this one. kami kana IT kini kepada kini kini pula macam ini takkan right. So I can't even tell the comma right. So can you see 9 trillion 340 million. Just imagine this is the global market for these listed products, and we are looking at something like we are only 21 billion. Don't you think there's a lot of potential in the world for us to go and explore and get this increase our this quantum? There is, right? And Sri Lanka is such a wonderful country that we have all the resources, we have all the people, we got the technical know, we have got our like if you see on the literacy side, Sri Lanka people are very high compared to other countries, most countries. So we have everything, natural resources. So we should do well. Right. Now I'm going to talk to you something where you always hear the people talking about, right? My next topic will be, I'm going right. My next topic will be to something you all be normal hearing, and actually when you go for gatherings, you all are branch managers, branch managers. Now when you go somewhere here in gathering, maybe it's a party, maybe it's a cocktail, maybe it's a funeral, maybe it's a wedding. The people talk about free trade agreement, FTA, right? What is it, right? Full screen and put iconic or full screen and you can anything. Who is it? Oh, yeah, look, look, system. Look, my one thing. Sorry, next one, right? Right, okay, right. So, now, so you know the people are talking about free trade agreement. Okay, what does this mean? Going because people are talking free trade agreement. What is this free trade agreement? I think all of you all should have a small overall view of what free trade agreement is about, so that when you go to a gathering and you're among them and somebody starts the topic of free trade agreement, you should not feel nervous. What is this one talking about? I'll explain to you. Now, to explain that to you, I must go to the basic side, right? Now you know what is imports, right? That is somebody bringing something from outside another country, maybe into our country, right? Okay, that's clear. We'll say this item is coming by ship. It can come by plane also, right? But we'll say for just like this example, and plane is coming by ship. Now, when it comes by ship to the port, okay, right? About documentation, all that I'll talk later. But to get an idea of free trade agreement, you see what I'm telling you, right? Now this ship comes and lands. Okay, yes, the ship anchors, not land. Only planes land, right? Ship anchors at the harbor. Okay. Now, When the goods are unloaded, theoretically it's not happening the way I'm telling, but for sake of making you understand, I'm taking it in this way. So we'll say this importer, yeah, he's waiting at the edge of the quay, you know, we call that the quay where the ship comes and anchors in that area is known as the quay, right? So that the quay is not K-E-Y, Q-U-A-Y, now English, let us not go into English. Okay, that's not a quay, right? That's where they come. Then the ship will unload the goods onto the quay, okay? Now assume, right? But it's not happening. The importer, he's having his lorry waiting, and then the ship captain unloads it. And you know, the person of the ship who is the main man of the ship, like the driver or the main chief of the ship, known as the captain. So captain unloads this importer's goods, gives it to the importer. Now remember, right? Now think of this part. Now importer puts it in the lorry and he's bringing it out, right? When he brings it out, coming out of the harbor, out of the port, okay? When he's coming out of the port, there are some guys you'll see wearing white and wearing blue ties, right? Generally, I've seen them like that. They are known as custom officers, right? So when the they come to customer, they declare the goods to the custom officer, okay? When they show the custom officer goods, okay, now according to Sri Lankan regulation, right, there is a book. Every item that you bring, okay, to this country, there is a common global accepted book called the HS codes, right? HS codes where certain codes are given for everybody, even exporter knows, this is HS code for this item, this is the item. Now, according to, say, for example, in toys, it will have one HS code. If you have a fridge, it will have another HS code. For example, right? You want to bring clocks, it will be another HS code. You want to bring watches, it will be another HS code. Right? You want to bring TVs, another HS code. So, in these HS codes, right, government also has to have earned revenue for development. So, what they do is, depending on the need of that item, right, and how important that is, various factors are going to that. I can't tell you in detail what are the factors that are going to that. They say, okay, this item, we'll say item A. Now the importer come and is declaring an item called item A, we'll say at the customs. Customs says, my dear friend, according to your documents, this has cost you $100. Or we say $1,000, your cost is $1,000, right? Now, according to the HS code, right, okay, you have to pay 20% of that before you take it out, right? Now, that 20% means that is what you call the duty, customs duty, right? Now, that is how the country earns money for using for development infrastructure, how we can make roads without money, how to make the money. So, now if you bring that item and say A is $1,000, when he takes it out, before taking out, he has to pay another $200 to the customs, right? That's custom duty, right? So when he takes it out, apart from other costs, it is 1,000 to the cost of the item imported plus 200. So when it goes out of the port, it will be 1,200, right? Okay. So another item will be 50%. So it will be 1,500. What I will say, TV, 16-inch TV, no, 1,500, 50%. How much important? Is it 16-inch TV required? No. Some items say no, 100%. If your item is 1,000, you have to pay 1,000 rupees as custom duty, 100%. Some items, medications, right? Medical drugs, like all the medicines and all. Oh, it's very important for the economy. We need this for the people. No, you can import that. No custom duty at all, right? So it can be 0, it can go to 100, can be 200, whatever, depending on the item. You have to go to custom duty, right? Now, why I'm talking custom duty? That is a key part in the free trade agreement. So what happens is, now what happens here is, in this free trade agreement, say for example, one country, say Sri Lanka and another country, they get together, right? And they say, now see your country, that country will say, for example, India, right? Free trade agreement is India. They say, now see Sri Lanka, when you import items, your importers are importing from all over the world, right? All over the world. Finland, from Austria, from Germany, from Norway, all countries, England, then Malaysia, they're importing from all over countries to me. Same thing India is saying. Our people also importing from all over the countries to me. This is a problem to see. Why don't we do something where you and I can increase trade between ourselves, right? I will you ensure that more people buy Indian goods from your country, and I'll ensure that more people buy Sri Lankan goods from my country. Yes, yes. You ensure that more people buy Indian goods, and I will ensure that more people buy Sri Lankan goods. That's the agreement between the two. So how do they do this? What they do is, you see, now see, for example, you say a fridge, right? Just one example, right? Fridge. Now the duty of fridge in Sri Lanka is if you bring a fridge from Sri Lanka, or if you import a fridge from Sri Lanka, the duty amount given is 60%. Let's say, just for example. So if a person imports a fridge for $1,000, right, then he has to pay another $600 as duty. So when he takes it out of the port, it is $1,600. Because that, apart from other costs, transport, other than all that, right? 1,600. Right now, that is one part. The next part is now see India. India says, okay, we say handicrafts. If anybody in India is importing handicrafts, they don't want others doing it. Any country, India says not required. We have 80% duty. Any handicraft coming from another country, any Indian importing a handicraft has to be 80%. So if that Indian imports a handicraft for $1,000, he has to pay another $800 as duty. So when he takes it out of the port in India, a handicraft, that becomes 1,800, right? Okay. Now what the Sri Lankan and Indian says, we'll do like this. For a start, we'll say, if this person, now your duty for a fridge is 60%, no, right? If that person in Sri Lanka imports a fridge from India, right? If the fridge is a Indian make, Indian origin, manufactured in India, if he is importing from India, then you make the duty 30%. Right? Similarly, if a person imports handicraft from Sri Lanka, if a person in India imports handicraft from Sri Lanka, they'll say normal 80%. No, no. If it's a handicraft import in Sri Lanka, India is willing to make it 40%. Right? Okay. So now, take for example, what happens? If a Sri Lankan imports a fridge from Italy, okay, so it is $1,000, we'll say, the fridge is. So when he comes to the port, he has to pay $600 duty. So when he takes it out, it has already cost him $1,600. I'm not talking about transport and all that, right? It already cost him $1,600. Correct? Right. Now, if a Sri Lankan imports a fridge from India, see, that is $1,000, quality, everything same, right? Then, if the agreement has said, if the fridge is imported from India, the duty is 30%, right? Then he pays 300. Okay. Now he brings the fridge out. For him, the fridge just cost him 300, 1,300. For the other person who bought from Italy, 1,600. Now see, both are having two shops in Pita Market, in Main Street or whatever, they have two shops. And a consumer Sri Lankan guy is coming to buy this fridge. He goes to the first shop and asks Italian guy, say, how much is this fridge? He says, sir, this is $2,000. But the 1,600 plus the charges, he has a profit about 200, we say 1,600 plus $200 charges, 1,800. So he's selling for $2,000, right? He says, can't you give discount me? How much? Shall I pay you 1,500 for this fridge? Then that shopkeeper say, what are you talking? this fridge is costing me 1,800, right? And you're asking for 1,500, right? Or 1,400, say, right? If 100, how can I give to you, right? No, I can't say. Then he goes to the next shop. Next shop is who? The guy who imported fridge from India. For him, we'll say 1,000 plus duty 300, 1,300, and it has cost him 200 transport, right? So now the Italian guy will say, right, if you want the fridge, the last price I can give you is 1,900 because 1,000 for the fridge, 600 for duty, 200 for cost. So 1,800 cost him. So from instead of making $2,000, he say, okay, I'll make $100. I'll give 1,000 early morning. I'll give 1,000 for 1,000. Nothing less than 1,009. No point in my doing business, right? Right. So if he has to break even, he has to at least sell 1,008 only. He can't give below that. It loses. No point. Then comes the Indian. The person, the Sri Lankan guy who imported the fridge from India. His cost is $1,000 plus 300 custom duty plus 200. That is 1,500. Right? So he comes here. How much is the fridge? 1,800. He's giving $300. He'll say, see, your neighbor, you went to that shop, no? That fellow say, how much did he say? He said $2,000, right? I am giving 1,800. You want to buy? He said, no, 1,800 is too much, right? Can you give for 1,600? Okay. Now the Sri Lankan who imported the fridge from India, his cost is $1,000 for the fridge, cost $300 custom duty, transport 200, 1,500. So if he sells the fridge for 1,600, he is making a profit of $100, right? If that guy from Italy, the Sri Lankan who imported the fridge from Italy sells it, he'll be losing 200 because it cost him 1,800, right? Now do you see how what happens? So because of this agreement, the price, the consumer, the Sri Lankan buyer, will move on to buy the Indian fridge because it's cheaper, right? This is like this example. This will motivate more people to buy Indian goods, right? Because of the duty concession. So this free trade agreement is what you call where the two countries agree whatever their tariffs on certain goods, if it is from origin from these two countries, they'll come to an understanding to reduce the tariff, right? But actually, this will take periodically when it happens, right? It happens periodically. But this will happen over a period, it will reduce. Eventually, the final essence of the agreement is that any goods from these two countries coming to each other will be without a free of any duty. Free trade, no duty. Sri Lanka will not charge anything from India for India importing goods. Although, if they import from other countries, that tariff will charge, will get custom duties. From India, eventually there will be no charge, right? Eventually, Sri Lanka, in India also same thing, handicrafts will be zero. So zero from here, zero from there. So there will be more trade of goods between these two countries in their people buying this, right? So that is what we call free trade agreement. Basically, we signed India, Pakistan, all these not all trade agreements are in line. Anything over is there. So that's not good, but I'm just giving the essence of what a free trade agreement is about. Okay, but you must remember that the essence of the free trade agreement is to help people who are manufacturing goods in their own countries. Okay, while manufacturing goods in their own countries, right? Now we'll say we'll say there's some item, okay, that is importable, that the duty in Sri Lanka, it is 40%, right? The duty of that particular item in India is 60%, depending on the way the country looks at it, right? So India says this item B, if anybody imports from any country, it is what? It is 60%. Sri Lanka, the same item, the government says anybody importing this item from this from any country, this item B, our duty is 30%, right? So now you can't have an Indian guy, a smart guy, who will tell a Sri Lankan, look here, this item B, if I import it direct into my country, the duty is 60%, right? So what I want you to do is, You import it into your country. Right? Now Sri Lankan on behalf of the Indian will import. Then how much in Sri Lanka? 30%? No? Right. After importing into the country 30%, we'll say that is origin is say like Finland or something, right? Then now the agreement is the FTA agreement between Sri Lanka and India, and he'll tell the Sri Lankan, you export that item to India under the FTA, that is free trade agreement. So the item coming to India will be no duty. But what did he do? That Indian guy, he paid the Sri Lankan that 30% for importing country tariff for 30%. And under the FTA, when Sri Lanka imported, he paid no 30% for the item. In Sri Lanka, the duty is 30%. You're coming from Finland and from Sri Lanka. Under the FTA, we'll say now the FTA is that no duty for anything. It goes to India free of any tariff. So what did the Indian do? He instead of paying 60% direct, he bought it through Sri Lanka, knowing that 30% for Sri Lanka, and took it a free trade across to India. So he paid only 30% tariff actually. So he paid the Sri Lankan that. Now that is not allowed. We are not, free trade agreement was not designed to increase the exports of Finland, no, isn't it? It's only of India and Sri Lanka. So when you say that, when you say under FTA, there are governing rules, right? The origin of the goods, there's a certain percentage, they will check. So only if that is accommodated and it is certified Indian origin, and there the person, say for example, they allow, say like for example, you import some doll, right, from a country, India manufactures, but India has to manufacture say the eyes, the hair, and the packing may be imported. So certain percentage is okay, but the overall product majority should be from India. It should be Indian. It's the idea to promote the Indian production and the Sri Lankan production, not to promote Finland production. So you can't take this shortcut and be smart and bring it from here, bring it to Sri Lanka at 30%, send it on FTA duty free. No, that is not allowed. That is not allowed. There's a thing called rules of origin, right? I think basically that's sufficient for you with regard to what is free trade agreement. There's one small item I tell you. Now supposing they talk all the commodities are mentioned, these A, B, C, D, the list. Now one commodity is it's produced in Sri Lanka, right? And it's a big industry in Sri Lanka. Okay, we will say, for example, say handloom, so what, just some product. Then when India says okay, free trade agreement, then Sri Lanka will say, sorry, right? This is a main production done in Sri Lanka. We manufacture in Sri Lanka. So if they start importing, if Sri Lanka start importing under FTA from you, what will happen to India is we will lose our industry. Will have to go bankrupt because the items coming India will be cheap and they'll buy. So it's affecting our industry, right? Our local industry. Therefore, no, this item will keep it, right, out of the trade agreement. Similarly, in India also there is no. India also will be producing some of the goods, and if they find that if they import that from Sri Lanka, it impacts their industry, then India say no, man, that item let's leave it out, right? So in this free trade agreement, there's a thing called the negative list. Negative list means both countries are negative. This means this is not under the FTA. This is not under the FTA. Okay, so that we call negative list. So now you know what is negative list. You know what is FTA. You know the main idea why FTA is signed about custom duty. So I think that is sufficient for a knowledge of having what a free trade agreement is about. Okay, so now I told you about what is free trade agreement. I think you all are quite okay with it. Now let's go. Now we showed $9 trillion. 9 trillion, just imagine, right? And we only have 21 billion, right? That year that I took, that is 21 billion. Now, sorry, I got to show you that here. Free trade this, here rules of origin, I said here, negative list, okay? Complete removal of all tariffs on all goods. These are main features. This is sufficient for you to understand, okay? On free trade, like that, you all know what is here the rules of origin. Ensure minimum, right? Okay. Now, even though we say, now we come to risk associated with international trade. Now, this I'll be not very detailed, but now when you say $9 trillion worth of business, import export business taking place. Okay, but and we say globally there's no country who can't survive without import export, right? Right. Okay. Having said that, still, okay, still, even though this business is so big, there are certain risks, right? So therefore, maybe some customer may come to you and say, so I want to export certain items, right? And what do you think? So you can give him a macro level advice, okay, if you know these things. And I had highlighted certain risks. So there's risk, right? There's a risk in this trade, although it is such a big business and the country can't do it without it, globally, every country can't do it, they need it. Still, even though we say that, still there's a risk, okay? So now I'm covering what are the risks associated with international trade, okay? I have listed about 5 very simple ones, okay? Not in big way. Now, when I say risk, right? Micro risk, these are all macro risks, right? When you say micro risk, buyer and seller, right? So buyer and seller, seller gives the goods to the buyer, buyer does not pay. Buyer gives the money to the seller doesn't. That is between buyer and seller. No? The issues between the buyer and seller, that is known as micro risk, right? Micro risk. But I'm talking about macro risks. Macro risk means, and these 5 risks are not the main, not the only listed items. You can have some more other items as well. So I will go through not much in detail, but somewhat on what are these risks that are associated with. So you can advise the customer what it is all about when you come to talk to you. Right now, for example, say the risk, there's risk called country risk, there's a risk called industry risk, there's a risk called bank risk, there's a risk called fraud, there's a called right. Okay, now let's go by this. Country risk. A few things that when a customer is trying to export to a country, right? Or maybe import also from a country or export to a country. You're making plans. Okay, I'm trying to send this country. You must see how the country in that particular country. You may have to see what is the political and economic stability. Is that country politically stable, right? Is there laws and regulations which is regular, right? Now, for example, you say like now they have to go talk like Libya and in like Iraq and things like that, you might be Somalia, you are a bit concerned to export, right? Because they are politically and economically not stable, right? But if you say like you're going to export to like Singapore or UK, whatever, you might say, oh, that's quite established, or America, or whatever. You might feel it's quite a stable way of acting. Their economies are quite stable, okay? Now, there can be political, economic stability of the country you have to check out, right? Then exchange control, right? Like what is exchange control? Exchange control means, like I said, I told you, I told you. Now you send the tea, right? You go, this tea is item that you don't buy straight away from the estates, right? This tea, just to know one of the commodities, how they do is all the tea producers bring the tea to a place called tea auction, okay? And then the tea auction, the exporters go and bid, then they buy the tea, okay? That's in Colombo tea auction, so that's not required. But we said tea. Now you export the tea, you buy the tea, you packet it in your factory, you've done your place to process it, and you made it nicely and put in maybe crates and tea chests, and send it. And go in the ship and go far journey, can go to Saudi Arabia, whatever country, maybe whatever country. Now, if the tea goes there and you are not able to get your dollars, that's a problem, right? So therefore, there is a thing called exchange control. Now in Sri Lanka, we have exchange means actually foreign exchange, right? How foreign exchange, what is allowed now, all the regulation relating to import, export and all, importing goods and export of goods comes from the import control department, right? But the money wise, the money part, the foreign currency part is done by the exchange control department. We have the exchange control department in the central bank who are the monitors of the exchange control operations. They'll say how exchange control, how much remittance you're going abroad. Okay, now you allow 10,000. Okay, no, I think we'll allow 50,000. You can take. Okay, you can take 20,000. Your education, we were allowing $10,000. Now we'll make it 2,000. Oh no, we were allowing 10,000. No, it's too much. I think now we make it 5,000. So like these controls of exchange control, the exchange control department in the central bank handles this exchange control. So you must see what are the governing rules of the country. Some countries say yes, you can import, right? You can import. Okay, I think I won't go to regulations so much because it's not my area. But say some countries might say things also. It's something happening in Sri Lanka also, where they say yes, you can import, but the exporter cannot get the money immediately. Okay, he has to give you 6 months time to pay. That is one control, right? Another control say no, you can import, but if it is whatever the cost of the import is, you can immediately remit only 50%. The balance can be remitted over a period of say 24 months, something like that, right? Or they'll say suddenly when the tea goes to reaches Saudi Arabia, they'll say no, nothing, we don't have exchange control, we don't have exchange foreign exchange enough, nobody can remit anything. So then what happens? Your buyer cannot buy the tea is in the port, and then he can't send the money because he's genuine. He wants to send the money. But the country regulation says you can't send any money out. Right? Then what happens? You're stuck with the tea has gone there, your buyer cannot send the money. So it all depends on whether that country has good defined exchange control regulation. That may have to see upon, right? Then import-export regulations. Now, your exporter wants to export a certain item to another country, right? You must see what are the regulations. Does the import-export regulations allow the import of the item that you're going to do, right? Is it allowing this item to be, is that country willing to accept imports of this item? Is it permitted? What happens if you don't see that and you sense it and they are finally what happens? He gets stuck in the port, right? Or he can't take it into the country, it's not allowed, right? Then there's another section thing in this category. Import control may have said, okay, commodity A, you can only import 5,000 tons for a year. The whole country can import only 5,000 tons, 50,000 tons a year. That's all you can for that year. And that's the restriction. Now, suppose you're not aware of that and you send the commodity to that country. And by the time your commodity goes there, that particular commodity, the ceiling has already imported 50,000 metric tons, okay? As imported. That is the ceiling the import control regulation is. So now how your one is going to be excess. So then that will have to be at the port stuck till the next financial year. Say January, December. Now it went in November or October. Now you can't. Country regulations, 50,000 metric tons of that item has already been imported to the country. So no more can come in. So what you have to do? You have to make arrangements to keep that for another 2 months for you to put it under the new category, right? So it's all problems, right? So that is important regulations. Other one is storage facilities. Now there are certain commodities, right? There are certain sensitive commodities like where ultraviolet rays can affect, right? Now say when a ship comes to a port, right? Unlike our private buses, they don't haggle and wait, hold the ship and wait till people come and get in. People are still in the house, they're dressing up, they'll wait still, right? How buses, no, they'll keep on shouting, wait till the people can get in. No, ships don't work like that, right? They have a routine, right? They'll say they're leaving country A and their target is country D. So they stop at country B, C, D, 3 countries, okay? They're taking goods for countries B, C, and D, right? So if that is the case, okay, this ship will come to country from A, it will come to B, but it won't wait for the owner of the goods to come and take the goods. They won't wait like that. They'll unload it on the port on the port of that country, and then proceed to the next country. C, unload it there and go to D, right? Unload it there and maybe reload and come back on the journey back again, okay, from that country, right? So when the ship unloads these goods in that port, you must see that there is sufficient facilities. For example, if it's an item like say it requires refrigeration, right? No, is this that port have refrigeration facilities, right? Till the importer comes and takes, whether it may need a certain temperature, right? Maybe seafood, maybe some ultra where light room temperature comes, the chemical gets changed into something else, right? Some certain chemicals. So that sensitive items there can be. So therefore, whether if you are sending items like that, it is whether you have suitable facilities in that port, and also certain products like in ports, you may have, you can't just, they may not have certain special type of cranes may be required to take from the ship and put it down. You just can't take and just land it on the port. Understand? I mean, people can't. There can be ports where people are going up and all the laborers are unloading, right? So this may require special handling equipment for to unload. So does this port have such sufficient stores like that to store this in the various methods? Okay, that we have to find. And now these are just four things I told you about countries. Okay, this is about four things I told countries. Okay, right. Now going for the industries, right? Then now say example one exporter says I'm going to export item X to this country, right? I've got a big potential. He has said the buyer has said for the next 3 years I'm giving order for you to send me. Every time you send, I'll pay the money, right? Now you will ask the person, and what is coming to you? He's coming and say, now you see, for this I need to buy a land, right? And I need to do a factory, manufacture factory. I need to buy machinery to manufacture these. Okay, I'll pay over the 5 years. I'll pay it, right? Machinery, capital goods. So you have a long-term period, right? And you then I need to buy some vehicles to transport from my factory to Colombo to the port. Okay, I need all that. Then you might ask him, okay, you are saying that this person is giving the order for the next 3 or 5 years, but how do you know whether this product will be in demand? Whether the demand is temporary? What if you put out invest all this and find the manufacturer find that the demand for the particular product has dropped, right? So therefore, when you see that item, you must be how sustainable that project is, right? Product demand product, right? For example. Right? Then take recession. You know, like what happened when the financial crisis occurred. You know what happened, all right? The whole globally, there are America and now one of our major buyer, right? Our major buying. Our exports are done mainly to the major buyer is America. But during financial crisis, there was a lot of issues, and therefore, like in government industries, small government industry had to close up. They did not have orders. The people are not buying. Now, see, for example, now also in the COVID situation, also there are a lot of things happening. Countries are going into recession. Therefore, whether this is the country where there will be a particular recession for that particular industry, the government industry can be financial. How many factories closed up because there were no orders. Then competition, pricing. Now you do a product and you export it, but then now see, for example, Sri Lanka also, you go to a pharmacy, you those days because in my time, in my time, when you go to pharmacy, you just generally see goods that are like, for example, Switzerland, UK, ointment or medication. Some medication is all costing, one tube will cost about say 2,000-3,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees. But then what happens is uh, you'll get if that company company UK started exporting those high valued tubes. What happened to Sri Lanka? In Sri Lanka, we get substitute like coming from India. If he says 2,000 rupees that made in England, you can buy. They'll say how much is the Indian one 500. So you will think, oh my God, Indian is 500, same medication, same chemicals, everything, but it is only 500. That is 2,000. So I can buy 4 tubes and apply rather than buying 1 tube and applying for the UK. So then what you do, you might try to go for the Indian one. So there can be pricing competition can affect the industry that you're going to deal in. Okay. Then of course product might go out of fashion, right? Like people, they have certain products, they go different fashions. Like for example, now I can tell you like I'll take the example contact lenses, right? Now I am still wearing specs, right? There are some people in specs, but you see the modern generation, you find most of them don't like to wear specs. They say, okay, specs is a, it's like makes you look like a nerd and then not fashionable. So they go for contact lenses. Now see what happens, what happens to the frames that they manufacture. People start going for contact lenses. That business goes off. Product is going out of fashion, right? And now you can see, now it's so much so advanced in the contact lenses that I know some of my cousins overseas also, some of in Sri Lanka also, the ladies today if they wear a blue sari, right? They have their contact lens. They put that blue eyes, right? Your red sari, they put red eyes, right? Red, the contact lens, red color, right? So it's so gone to so advanced that they can do it. Then what happens to specs frame manufacturers? They go out of business, right? Go out of fashion. We're wearing a frame. They say it makes you look like a nerd, looks like an old person, all that. Okay, for us, okay, if we're old, does not matter. But see, I'm just simple example I give you, right? So product might go out of fashion. So therefore, you must be very conscious of how the industry risk is. Coming to this piracy, piracy means technically what it means is, these pirating, something piracy, all they say, right? But it does not matter whether you call it piracy or piracy. It does not matter because when you write paper answer, it does not make a sound. No, so the spelling is the same, right? This is where when a person exports goods, okay, say ships goods from a country, and while it is coming in the mid-sea, there will be a gangsters, right? They are known as pirates. They come and obstruct, okay, and what do? They stop the ship and rob all the goods from the ship. That is what they do, right? That is one way they do that. One pirate they do that. Another thing some pirates do is they sort of wait in the sea, and when the ship comes, they take the captain, ship, the crew, and all the goods and take it hostage. Maybe there is some rebel forces, and maybe somebody of the lead has been got caught in a country and put in jail. So they take that ship into hostages, and they tell, okay, if you want this ship released with the crew and the captain alive, you release our leader who is in jail for life, right? You release this leader who is in jail for life. You'll release our leader or our one of the key people in the rebel group, then we will release the ship. That is, they can host it. They do that. Sometimes they take the ship. These pirates, they take the ship, and they say, right, they want funding for their rebel activities, and they'll say, okay, you want the captain alive, you want the crew alive, and the goods and the ship, okay, $100 million US will release. So due to life is more important, so at times sometimes they pay that and they release the ship. So these are pirates in the pirating, what you call pirating. Normally this happened in the Somalia area. That is very commonly it happens in the Somalia area, right? Then comes to bank. What is the bank? This is very important. Whatever transaction, international trade, right? There is most international trade transactions actually go through the banks. Whatever, where remittance wise, or the money you send the goods and get the money, or send the documents related to the goods, or whatever. International, lot of banks get involved. Okay, so I'll show you. You'll come to know when I go more in detail about LCs and all that. What are the role of the banks? Okay, how important the bank or the role of the bank is. Okay, when I come to that section. Now, in this bank, the risk in banks is insolvency, right? You will get a bank who looks good today. If you remember the financial crisis, every day you got up and switch on the TV or watch the news or read anything in the internet, you'll find banks are collapsing. Some banks are well rated also, but still they collapse, right? So they are not strong. So the bank can open today, and your import-export depends on that bank. And then what happens? That bank goes insolvent. So you have to read. Then in handling documentation also, some banks are not conversant, right? They are very haphazard. They are not interested. They don't take care. So when the documents come related to the goods that they imported. Say you're importer, you will find that when he goes customs, there are mistakes in the documents and he's penalized, or sometimes goods are getting confiscated. So that happened, right? So therefore, there are poor standard checking, right? The other one is um, certain banks, certain, say our export is there, certain importers, right? They are very good. The importers are very good. They are willing to. They go immediately. They go to the bank. They send the money to the exporter, right, on time, and sends you the proof. You know, we do a remittance. You can send the proof, no, and shows here. See, I paid on such a day. The bank, first of the month, I paid the bank. But it is he has made the remittance on the first, but it's 28th of the month, and you've still not got the remittance. Why is that? Because this is not the fault of the importer. Importer has paid, but his bank has the habit of delaying payments, right? Okay, so these things happens, and in my personal experience, of course, I found that Bangladesh was one country that they don't. I don't say they default, but there are delays in money coming. That's my experience. I found that from Bangladesh, money gets delayed to come. Okay, so whenever a customer comes to get facilities, take a loan or something to do an export to Bangladesh or what a company like that, I normally tell them, look here, my friend, you are costing your goods thinking that the moment you send your goods, within 10 days, your man is going to send you the money, right? But our experience in this is that it will take at least 2 months for you to get the money. So then if you have bank loan, you'll be paying interest until you get the money, right? So that amount of interest that you're paying to the bank because the delayed receipt of, because the money you're getting, although the importer has paid, that bank there is delaying to send you the money, that interest cost will come to you. That will eat into your profits. Therefore, if you can try, always in your pricing to a person like buy from Bangladesh, not the import is bad, but that banking practice or maybe your experience, I think better if you can put a little more margin for these things, right? Because delays due to maybe not the regulations or how that it happens. But it's better if you can, so that you can say, understand. Or another country will say, no, they are very prompt. They'll send the money immediately. Don't worry, that's okay. So this can happen, right? This can happen, right? So then you can claim you price your goods a bit higher, because if the money gets delayed, then you're in vain, you're losing your profit. Sometimes it may be delayed so much that you'll be paying interest and finally you lose all the profit, right? Then comes adherence to ICC rules. Now here, what it means is, uh, international trade, I said, is global activity, right? So if it is global activity, you get nomen from how many parts of country, you get Italy, you get Austria, Norway, UK, Germany, Chinese, Japanese, Koreans, right? Vietnamese, okay? Australians, New Zealanders, then Fijians, oh God, the whole world, right? And everybody talks in different languages, right? They're talking. If you work in an international trade department and you have the experience, you'll find how difficult it is to converse with some of these people, and some of these people, like even the Middle East people, it's quite difficult to converse. People like who you think who know English, they also you find difficult. Sometimes Germans, it depends. It's very difficult to converse, and therefore. And what they say can be misinterpreted, right? Now, if you say for a Chinese person, say, no, 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 I can't pay. I told you I want this. No, no, no. You say you wanted this, but what I meant was I wanted this. So, because of that, what they have done is the International Chamber of Commerce, okay, International Chamber of Commerce, they have formulated certain rules called the International ICC rules. So, they say anybody dealing with international trade will have a standard set of rules. It's easy for everybody. Everybody follow that rules, then the matters can be solved easily, right? Okay, this is the rule. No, you may be Chinese, you may have said this. I am a Sri Lankan, I may say this, but the law is this. This is the regulation. This is the ICC regulation, ICC rule. So normally when they do transactions, they put a clausing. All this transaction, import trade, this transaction or this business will be subject to ICC rules, right? So the problem is you will find that certain banks, right, their staff or the bank itself are not very aware, well aware of this, very much aware of the ICC rules, and they don't adhere to the rules. Then it's a big issue. You got a lot of conversation, lot of delays, and lot of losses can be for the exporter, can be for the importer. It may be import issue, it may be export issue. So if they don't adhere to ICC, you're not sure in what with whom you're dealing with, right? Because they don't understand, they don't adhere to those, then it's going to be a lot of big problem for you, right? So that is what you call adherence to ICC rules. So there are certain rules. You'll see when I'm doing the session, I'll come up with the rules, I'll explain to you those rules also. Right. Now, let's go to the next one. Now, workforce standards. Now, see, I can tell you workforce, how good is the workforce in a bank? Okay. Now, workforce in a bank is a very important thing. My experience, I feel that in Sri Lanka, right, our Sri Lankan banks are doing brilliantly where training of staff is concerned, right? I'm a commercial at HNB, I've been at HSBC, right? So if you see the way, after that, I've been doing lectures for the banks in Sri Lanka as well. Only other banks have been doing lectures. I find that our banks in Sri Lanka give high priority for training. Certain banks entirely different flow or different sections completely only for training, right? They spend a lot of money, even allocating capital structure, in their building, they'll have one whole flow sometimes. Sometimes one whole section is only for training. And they have well drawn up training programs. They are very conversant, they are very focused in training their staff. Sri Lanka, of course, I feel every bank is doing a super job where training is concerned. That is why there is high demand for Sri Lankan bank staff overseas. You know, if a Sri Lankan bank staff goes overseas, it's very rarely that they are sent back home unless their country is in trouble, recession, maybe like COVID, something else. But generally, the Sri Lankan training standards are very good. They are very well recognized, right? So that's good. So therefore, that how the training standards are done in that bank, it all depends. It also has an impact on the bank, right? Now, having said that, okay. Now, when you want to know about a bank, dealing with a bank, right? There is a department in your bank called, some people call it the correspondent banking department. Okay. Some people say it is the financial institution department. Depends. The name may vary. But that department is so, one of the key focus job is to always update about the banks in the world, right? What is happening in the bank? How is it? So there, for that purpose, there is a, those it was a book, but now there is a online where you subscribe and you get it, called the Banker's Almanac, right? Banker's Almanac. In that Banker's Almanac, if you look up at a bank, it will give the rating. In the country, what is the rating of the bank? In the world, what is the rating of the bank, right? Who are the shareholders? How is their performance? How much of staff, right? What are the assets? What are the liabilities? How was the P&L for the last 3 years? Okay. And any other additional information. Who are the major shareholders? Is it a subsidiary of another bank? Who are the other banks, major shareholders, not by individuals, but by other banks that are merged or whatever? Is it having a share, other banks, what are the shareholdings of those banks, right? So, like that, you get a big history. And this financial institution department of yours or correspondent banking department has that facility. And whenever you want to, apart from all what I said, if you really want to get information, you can write to them, send a note to them, or call them up and tell them, okay, the customer is going to deal in this bank, can you give me a report of that bank? Now, that is the job of the financial institution department. I know you will go through the internet and you see all this, but internet, you know, we cannot rely. There can be so many things in the internet. But I say that this finance, about the bank is good for a certain transaction or for a long-term relationship of an importer or exporter, you can tell your correspondent banking department or financial institution department to give you a report in the bank. Because if you're working in a branch, say like outstation branch somewhere, and you get a query like this, it's better for you not to just go through the internet and just decide our bank is good or whatever. Well, there is a specific department. That's why every bank has a specific department like that. So better for you to refer to them, and they'll give you a real picture of what that bank is. Okay. So that is as far as bank risk is concerned. Very important. Then finally I tell you about the fraud, Now in international trade, there are documentation being exchanged. Okay. So your importer, if you're an importer, your exporter might send you documents which are frauds, right? You want an inspection certificate, I'll explain all that later. What are the documents? Right? You might get documents that are fraudulent, okay, which is not genuine. And when you go to clear the port, when you go to Colombo port to clear it, you don't get the goods because the documents are fraudulent, right? Then I'll tell you what are forged LCs. There are LCs. LC is a LC or known. Some people call it letters of credit. Some people call it documentary credit. Both are the same. But that is what you call LC. This LC is undertaken by a bank. So they can give fraudulent LCs. And some exporter might go and perform on that and find that LC was a forged LC or a fraudulent LC, right? So I'll explain that to you later. Then insurance. Some people might say insurance frauds, right? They will, for example, say that they are they are sending oil or something from one place, if I say from South to Colombo, oil is coming. If they're a fraudulent guy, he might go and he will get insurance that the ship sinks in the middle of the sea. And then you go and put insurance fraud and you are supposed to go and collect the insurance. You are paid for the oil, but he has not put oil in that. He has to put some rubbish, send it, but he'll ensure the ship sinks. And then he'll damage the ship, sink it, and then what he'll do is he will tell you to claim insurance frauds, right? So there you get insurance frauds also happening, right? That's what that. Then cargo theft. Like I told you, cargo theft is what I told like by the pirates. Where here what happens? I told the pirates I spoke to you about, right? Now this cargo theft, what I mean is the exporter is fraudulent. What he does is he ships the goods, gives the captain, gets all the documents required. I'll tell you what are the documents when I go in the next session. Gets all the documents required, and the ship leaves. It's coming towards Colombo. In the mid-sea, not the pirates, the exporter intercepts the ship and he robs all the goods. Understand? Now, the pirates, I told something else. No, who are the pirates, right? That's different. Or pirates or pirates or whatever. I told you. Now, in cargo theft is he ensures that before the cargo comes to the ship comes to Colombo, he intercepts and robs all the cargo. He's robbing the cargo. If you say he's bringing down sugar or something, he might take all the sugar and put some sandbags and send it to you. Right? That has happened actually. Right? Okay. Then the other word is scuttling. I thought I'll just put that to you. For you, somebody talks about scuttling, you'll wonder what is scuttling. Then I'll tell you what this scuttling is. Scuttling is this again is what the exporter does. When the ship is mid-sea, right? Now say there's a consignment of sugar coming in, right? And he has fraudulently put in the containers, he has put sand, right? Okay. And loaded. Now ship is coming. Now he knows there is sand. Now he has got the money, we'll say our importer has paid the money. Now if he comes to Colombo and he opens and sees sand, he'll know the exporter is being fraudulent, right? So what he does is he will, when the ship comes in mid-sea, he will surround the ship and go and make holes in the ship. He'll make holes all over the ship, right? So when he makes holes all over the ship, what happens? The ship will sink, isn't it? Obviously, if you make holes, water will go in and the ship will sink, go right down, and the importer won't know what happened. He'll say, oh, sorry, ship has sunk, you can claim from insurance, blah, blah, whatever. He'll make stories, right? So that way, the importer will not know that this guy actually cheated. Now, one item might be working in your mind, right? Now, when the exporter goes and hands over goods to a harbor, right, in the port, and the ship is parked, right? When the ship is parked and goods are handed over, you know how big a ship is, right? And you can see how many containers that a ship gets loaded, right? 300 containers. Now, the captain of the ship is the chief. So he says, one person says, there is sugar in this container. Sugar bag, something, whatever, right? Or there are toys in this container. Or there are car spare parts in the container. Right? $1 million worth of car spares, $100,000 worth of sugar, whatever, right? Now you can't normally the captain in practice, if you say container send sugar, he is not going to open the container and see whether the export is sending sugar, right? That is not practical, right? So imagine if the captain goes to sit and start opening every container and checking all the spare parts, or whether there are doors, or there are garments, or whatever. That ship will never leave the port. It will take about 2.5 months for the ship to leave, because if you're going to check every container, you contain 40-foot containers, how big? So how are you going to check every exporter says these is toys? Then what are toys? How many doors? How many cars? How many electric? No, it's not practical. No, it's not practical for a captain to check the goods, right? So when the exporter declares these are toys, he'll take out the container and he's not going to check and see whether there are toys in the container. That's not his job, right? That is the way international trade goes off. Otherwise, you cannot do international trade. So what happens is he will accept the goods and give a document to the exporting. I have received this cargo, right? So much, and there will be a statement if if you're dealing this trade and once you come across a thing called a bill of lading. I'll explain that to you. It will always say said to contain. Captain will declare always said to contain. Captain will say it contains, he will not say. He cannot say. He cannot say it contains unless he sees it. So if he's going to open every container, every package in the ship, all carton or everything, and see whether it's tea or what is there, then of course the ship will not leave and international trade cannot take place. Okay. So it's understood, globally understood, that captain will only say said to contain. Right? He'll never say that I can tell you that it contains sugar. Right? So in the fraud I told you, the cargo theft, he'll come to that, he'll take it. So we don't know what, if they're sinking the ship and all that, he'll put sand and things. So you can't help blame the captain. The captain is not responsible. That question when you listen to your mind, how can you do that? The captain should accountable. No, captain not accountable, right? He'll say said to contain. He'll never say, yes, I guarantee that there is. He never checks, right? Always it will say said to contain. Never ever will it say, yes, I vouch that there is sugar in this container, right? So that is how. So that's how the frauds take place. But having said that, despite all these frauds or whatever I am saying, right, still you can't run away with the fact that it's very important that you can't do without international trade. Am I right? Now, my friends, now this is about the macro side of things that I told you about, right? This is what I meant when I said macro. This is what I meant. Now, shall we take a small break? Okay, 15, 20 maybe, and come back again after this break. Okay. Okay, guys, have a break, and I'm supposed to. Right, so you all can have a break, and we meet again. Welcome back, everybody. Trust the short break was good for you all. Yeah, you all could have completed your breakfast, or at least, and those who have not eaten at all had the breakfast completely. Okay, okay, everybody. Now let us go on to the next one. Now, I think, like I said, I have completely, more or less, finished on the macro level. Okay. Yes, really, this is sufficient. This what I have done so far is sufficient for you to understand international trade on the macro level side. Now we are going into a little more deep areas, right, which is a little technical, but not difficult to understand at all. Right, friends? Now, let me go to the next slide. Right. Now, when you do international trade, okay, there are certain documents that are involved. There are so many documents. Even you can create your own document. You can say, okay, certificate from the exporter, whatever. So I have taken a few of the main documents to be discussed here now in this session. It will be finished for today, and we'll go a little more on payment methods, and then we'll continue from there on. Yeah. Now, how does international trade take place? Say there's an importer and he wants to buy something. Okay. So he wants to import some, we'll say, some spare parts, for example, okay, from China or something. So what are the sources he will have? Okay. Yes, definitely on the internet, if he goes, he can find out who are the sellers of spare parts. That is one. Okay. The other one is he can go to the Chinese embassy, go and meet the trade council and tell him, can you give me who are the exporters of spare parts for this particular brand or particular model of vehicle or something? And he can get information from the trade council. Okay. There are so many, but I'm just talking about a few. Thirdly, he can go to the market, see like Panchakavattu, and find out who are the importers who are importing from China. And what are the names? Okay, that's another one. Or sometimes in the daily news, in the daily papers, maybe weekend papers, weekday papers, you can get the names, right? Something like that. Okay, so there are various sources of getting this information. We'll say once you have got this information, okay, now we'll say there is one Mr. Let me put, since it's China, we'll put Mr. Ching. Mr. Ching has a company called Ching and Company. Ching and Company, either through the internet or through the embassy, trade council, or through the daily newspapers or through the market, whatever you got this name, Ching and Company. Now you will write to Ching and Company and say, I know I got the information, I saw it in the I saw it on the internet, I saw it whatever the source you got this information. I see that you are an exporter of spare parts for my requirement. Now I am having a business, spare part business. I want to import some spare parts from you. Can you tell me what do you export, whatever? Now, what this Chinese supply exporter will do is, now you would have said no. The importer would have said, I want, I'm not dealing on engines, I'm dealing only on rims, and certain interior parts of the car, like not the external parts, not the body parts, but I'm dealing in car seats and car audios and power steering gadgets and reverse mirrors. So you might have given saying what you want, what you like to have. Okay, is that clear? That is the Sri Lankan importer who got the information from the paper, whatever the ways I told you, one of the ways I told you. He will write to this Chinese guy, Ching and Company. Now Ching and Company knows what are the requirements that are required, right? Now the Ching and Company, okay, will send an offer to the importer in Sri Lanka, right? We'll say Mr. Say Silva and Company, for example, to Silva and Company saying, these are the items that you asked, you are interested, but these are what he has. He might add some of the things he has as well, and give him a list and say, these are what we have, right? Okay, these are the prices. Now what happens is, these the Sri Lankan has requested the Chinese guy that he wants to buy. He might say, I want to buy 25 of this, 50 of that, 100 of these, whatever items. So when the Ching and Company, okay, maybe they talk over the phone and they speak over the phone and they come to decision. Okay, now he agreed. He has these items. These are quantities. The Ching and Company knows what are the quantities. They have done exchange emails, all that, blah blah. Now they are finalized and now they know what they want. So now the Sri Lankan importer has said, these are what I want. So much of 25 of this, 100 of this, 50 of this, 50 of that. Okay. Now what the Ching and Company does is, they will send a note or letter or whatever way you can email or so many other ways. We'll send a offer to, let me not put it offer, we'll send a list of what are the items he can supply, what the importer requested, and at what price, right? That is the basic information in the document. These are the prices, these are the quantity you. Then there will be additional information saying as to now trade, if you confirm the order today, I will need about 30 days to supply, right? I need 30 days to supply, it will take a period. If I'm sending you this listing on my prices, and if you like it, and whatever day that you confirm, from that day onwards, I need so much of time to ship it, right? And how much money you have to pay, okay? Then it will say how to pay, where to pay, whether you have to pay to the bank or which bank to send the money. All these are additional information, right? Basically, the document that sends these are additional information in that particular document, right? The document where Ching and Company is sending it to the importer, detailing the items and the prices and all these things with other additional information I told you, is known as a pro forma invoice, right? A pro forma invoice, now there is information like what is the shipping date, when he can ship, and how the payment should be made, what account number the money should be sent, all that is there, and from the time the order is given, how long it will take to deliver, those information is there. But the main information that is, it will say these are the items and these are the prices, right? So beforehand, he's sending it to the importer. So that letter or that note that he sends to the importer, okay, saying that these are my prices and these are the rates, okay, and these are the quantities, in addition to other information like I told you, which I don't you need to worry, but that is known as the pro forma invoice, where the initial document is sent by the Chinese person to him, giving the prices that he can give and what are the quoting, what quantities that he has required and what he can give and all that, okay, right? So that is known as pro forma invoice. Here, remember, this is done before supplying the goods, obviously, right? This is the thing the exporter, Chinese Indian company is saying, look here, this is my prices, these are the rates, these are items I have, right? Right, what you asked, out of the items that you asked, these are the prices, these are the quantity, right? Now, once the Sri Lankan importer gets that, right, okay, he will confirm to Ching and Company, okay, I received your pro forma invoice, I have seen the prices you have quoted, I have seen the quantity that you said you can give me, and those quantities are what I have asked also. So I am agreeable for what you on what has been said on the pro forma. I am agreeable to it. So please ship the goods. You better make the shipment, I'll make the payment. Okay. Now how they make the payment, how they ship goods, I'll explain that later. Now here's it. Now, once Ching and Company ships the goods, that is exports the goods from China to Sri Lanka, okay, after shipping, the Ching and Company will send him a note, like what I said, like the pro forma invoice, saying, look here, Mr. Silva of Silva and Company Managing Director, I have shipped the goods to you to Sri Lanka. These are the amounts, these are the prices that I agreed, and please pay me so much. I have shipped the goods to you. Okay, please pay me so much. Now it's billing. Actually, that's the bill, like a bill. Okay. Now, what he has built is he has shipped the goods and sending him the bill. Okay. When he sends the bill after shipping, that bill, or whatever you can call it, is called a commercial invoice. Right? So please understand, you'll see the difference. Pro forma invoice is sent by Ching and Company before Ching and Company could make the shipment. They are not shipped, they're only sending the price and saying what are the terms and conditions, which I told you that before. Some of the things they have in that. But mainly, these are the items, these are the quantities, these are the prices, informing Silva and Company. Once Silva and Company, Ching and Company ships the goods to Silva and Company, once they have shipped it, they will send him the bill, telling right here, I have shipped the goods, like you said, you wanted, I shipped the goods, now make me this payment, right? Okay, after shipping. Okay, so that is the bill, and that is known as the commercial invoice. Okay, now you know the difference. Pro forma invoice is before shipment, right? Commercial invoice is after shipment. It is a bill after doing the job, after performing. Okay, right. Now, if you want to think about how these two documents differ. Say you go into a restaurant. Okay, you go into a restaurant. And when you go into a restaurant, what do they come and give you? They come and give you the menu card. Okay. In that menu card, they will say, no, we have Chinese rolls, so much. Chinese fish rolls, so much. Chinese mutton rolls, so much. Right? Then Chinese patties, so much. Okay. And tea cup, so much. Coffee, so much. Iced coffee, so much. Right? All the items that they have for sale there, they would have given in that menu card. Right? Giving the prices also for each item. Somewhat similar to the menu card is the pro forma invoice. They are saying what price are they giving, like that. But here pro forma invoice will be more specific to what the importer asks. For that menu card, generally all the items they are. But here, when a pro forma invoice, it's like from the Ching will send the pro forma to what Silva wants, not all what he has in the shop. So something like a menu card. Before buying, he's telling his prices. Right? Now remember that pro forma is similar to a menu card. Then what do? You will order Chinese roll, this one, that one, everything. Tea, iced coffee, everything will have mutton roll, everything will have. Once you eat, right, then what does it do? He brings you the bill and tell you, you ate so much, this much you have to pay. Correct? Now, when he does that, that means that is the bill, and that acts as the commercial invoice. Okay? That acts as the commercial invoice. He has, this is what you ate, this is what you shipped, like what you ate, like in the hotel what you ate, you have shipped, I have shipped it, now pay me these things. So, you to draw a parallel between pro forma invoice and commercial invoice, you can say pro forma invoice is similar like the menu card, right? And commercial invoice is something like the bill. Okay, right? Sometimes you hear people say, can you don't I have heard people saying, can you bring the invoice? They say, but they are used to it. Certain countries, they are used to it, right? They say, bring the invoice. Invoicing means billing, right? So, can you invoice me and give me the bill? Invoicing means like billing. So, that is the difference between pro forma and commercial. Always remember, pro forma invoice is before the shipment, right? And before shipment, before performance, maybe before performance, right? Like hotel before eating. What is the performance? Eating, right? Performance. And then commercial invoice is after the performance, after shipping the goods. Where international trade is concerned, after shipping the goods. Okay? So, pro forma invoice, commercial invoice. I know there's some confusion. Most people, most friends of ours, all ask me, what is the difference between pro forma invoice and a commercial invoice? So this difference, now you know basically what it is. I think that's good enough for you. Okay, not good legal points and all that. Okay, now let me go. Now comes another important document. I'm not taking a lot of documents. I have taken very few documents only. I think it's enough. Wait. Right. This is known as bill of lading. Right. Now, what is a bill of lading? This is a bit important document. Okay. All right. I want a bill of lading itself is a whole subject matter, right? If you want to study what a bill of lading is, what are the properties of it, it's a long, lengthy thing. But don't worry. This I told you, awareness for you to get over a situation, not to lose business, not to allow a customer to go to another bank. You can, this knowledge is enough. Okay. Now, what does a bill of lading do? Now, when the exporter exports the goods, what does he do? He manufactures the goods, right? Puts it in his trucks, if required, if it's not close to the port, and takes it to the port, right? Now, there are a lot of procedures taking place, but I'm not going to detail procedures since I want to only create awareness. So don't worry. I mean, some of you who know it may say, no, that's not what happens. The port, this happens. It goes, there is a forwarding agent, that agent. They say, don't worry. Those of you know about it, doesn't matter. But that is not the topic that that does not come into my subject matter. My subject matter is to give you correctly awareness what a bill of lading is. So that's why I'm going to cut short the procedure instead of going too much detail. So now the bill of lading, what is it? Now the shipper, the exporter brings the goods to the port. Okay. Now he's standing at the port, we'll say, example, though it doesn't happen practically. He stands at the port and now he's waiting in a Chinese port. He's waiting for a ship to come to go to Colombo, right? So while he's standing, say one ship comes, the boat Colombo, going to Colombo, India, right? Colombo, he stops the ship and then he says, I want to send these goods to Colombo. Now remember, in normal bus stop means bus stop, you take the goods inside, you put your gunny bag or whatever, box or whatever you have into the bus and you also get into the bus, right? But here, no, it doesn't happen like that. Here, the exporter, the Chinese, he will meet the captain of the ship, right? He's the captain. Captain comes, yes, Mr. You're Mr. I'm Silva, and you shake hands and all that, okay? Mr. We'll say, the captain's name is Brian. I'll say, Captain Brian, I want you to take my goods from here to Colombo, okay, and deliver it to a company, my friend called Mr. Silva and Company. I'll give it to him, right? Okay. Okay. Now, this is between the Captain Brian and Ching. They are going to have a transaction, like a contract. Captain Brian is going to do a job for Mr. Ching and Company. What is the job? He is going to take the goods and take it to Colombo to be delivered to Mr. Silva of Silva and Company. So the goods are to the name of Silva and Company, right? He is the person to receive. Okay, Silva and Company. Now, so this when the captain takes over, right, these goods to deliver to Silva, he gives Ching a document, right? There is some document evidence, no? You just can't tell, okay, Captain Brian will say, just put the goods and then just go off, right? No, he won't go like that. He will give a document to Ching, okay? Now, that document is known as bill of lading. That's it, bill of lading. What does the bill of lading mean? One thing is, that is a receipt from the Captain Brian to Ching that he has received the goods. Okay. But remember that said to contain, he did not check anything, but he says, I have received goods to be taken to Colombo, set to contain whatever, we say spare parts. Okay. Spare parts. He will not check. I told you that. Remember? Right. That is one. That document denotes that as a receipt of goods by Captain Brian of the goods given to him by Mr. Ching. That is one. Second one is, it's like he's telling another purpose of that bill of lading is to say that, look here, Mr. Ching, I am giving an assurance that, or I'm contracting with you to carry the goods, not only receive the goods, also to carry the goods from China to Colombo. That is what you call contract of carriage, right? Don't worry about the word, just contract of carriage goods. Just think, don't go detail in those things. Contract of carriage sounds like a real big thing, but nothing. Basically, what he's saying is, yes, I am undertaking to take the goods from China to Colombo. That one I'll do. So maybe, right, later we'll see when you go Incoterms. For now, just assume that the Chinese Ching and Company pays the captain for the journey from China to Colombo, pays the journey, whatever the cost is, right? Say $1,000, $2,000 he has paid, right? Okay, like the bus, you can pay bus fare, then he promises to carry you to that place. But not trains and all, you can only put the goods, goods are going from Colombo to Trincomalee, you don't have to go, you put the goods train, they're going to in Colombo, in Trinco, like that. So now he has paid the money to the captain to carry the goods from China to Colombo, right? That is what I call contract of carriage, right? Carrying the goods, contract to carry the goods, right? Normally, this charge that you say from China to Colombo, that charge is known as freight, right? So basically, we'll assume for in this case, not necessarily when you do Incoterms, you'll realize it. In this case, right, the China person, China, for sake of explaining to you, that you'll assume that the Chinese exporter has paid the captain for the journey from China to Colombo, right? Which means that is called freight charges, right? He has paid. So now this document he gave, what Brian gave to him, the bill of lading, is one a receipt that he accepted the goods. Second, it's the document acts as a contract that he will take the goods from China and deliver it to Colombo. Okay, that is second one. Third one, that bill of lading also, right, quite important, acts as a document of title. Now, what is that document title? Don't worry, it's not so complicated, right? Document of title means now this captain gave this document to whom? To Ching. Sometimes he will give one copy, one document, or he might give in 3 originals, right? Different 3, 2, whatever. You see, he gave 3 originals, doesn't matter. Or don't worry, just forget one bill of lading given to him. Within 1 original, 2 originals, 3 originals, doesn't matter, right? So that document that the Chinese exporter got from Brian, that bill of lading, he has to send it to Mr. Silva in Colombo by mail or by post, whatever system is going, courier or anything, right? When Mr. Silva gets that document, okay, when Mr. Silva gets that document, right, Mr. Silva will take that document and go to the port, okay, go to the port and he will wait for the ship to come, okay. Now he is standing in the port. This is not how it happened practically, yeah, right? Just for to clarify, to make it clear for you. So he's standing in the port, waiting for this ship to come. Here it is coming, taking a couple of days, 20 days, whatever. It's coming now, right? He can see, yeah, the ship from China is coming from China to Colombo. Yeah, this is a ship, right? His Ching has told, Ching, there is a Mr. Silva. Ching has told, Mr. Silva, there is a ship coming, Little Angel. That's the name of the ship. It's coming. And then that only has in the goods, right? So when it comes to the port, he'll come to Colombo, he'll stop. Okay, when it stop, the captain will get on and say, who are the people who have goods on my ship? Right, okay, then he'll say, yeah, I'm Silva. Now he'll ask Mr. Silva, yes, are you? Yes, I'm Silva. My friend from China Mr. Ching told me that he has sent me some spare parts, okay? And you're from which company? I'm from Silva and Company. I'm the managing director. He'll show, this is my ID card, this is my visiting card, and this is my birth certificate, and this is my registration certificate of the company. He'll say all those documents is okay, but I still can't give you because I don't know whether you have the right to these goods. Hey, what do you mean by? Then he said, Brian said, I don't know your birth certificate, your identity card, your driving license, your company registration, all does not matter to me, right? What I want to know is how do I know that this is the person I have to give the goods to? So then he'll say, what are you asking me? He'll ask, I gave Mr. Ching a document called the bill of lading, right? When I took over the goods, right? And that document is a receipt that I took goods over from him, is a contract of carriage that I'll bring the goods to Colombo. Not only that, that document is also the document, the person who has that document is the person who has title to these goods. He only can get the goods. You mean that? Yes, I have it. And Silva, what he'll do, he'll take out this bill of lading and show it. This is what I wanted. This is what I wanted. Oh, so bill of lading, Mrs. Silva and Company, all that name is there. Right, Mr. Silva, you have given me the title document. You have shown that the goods belong to you. You are the person who gives them. This is a title document. So the captain will take the bill of lading to himself and then release the goods to Mr. Silva. Right? So that bill of lading, one, it is a receipt of goods by the captain saying this. Second is a contract of carriage. Right? And third, it's a document of title. That's enough for you. Right? Although I said bill of lading itself is a big subject. Don't worry. That's not required. So you can see what the bill of lading does. You know the functions of bill of lading. Because when I do payment methods, this will be very important. Okay, it is an important document. You will understand when you see how important that is. That will be quite a key document when you are doing the payment methods. Okay, right now. So that finishes what is bill of lading. Let's just go for a few more documents, one or two. I think these are all not very major documents, right? But I can go on and on and on and on, right? And release, but no need. I just took a few only, okay, which is enough, okay. Uh, Now, certificate of origin in certain countries, right? Before, like silver goes to the port to clear it, certain countries require that. No, say I told you, now the silver has taken the goods, okay. Now he has got the title. He has got the now with the title, with the BL. Ching would have also sent him the commercial invoice, which is the amount he has to pay. Okay. Now when Silva brings the goods and come out, try to exit the port, I told you those people that they are custom officers, right? They will check, okay, and they will see what is the commercial, how much he's supposed to pay, right? Depending on that, they'll give the duty amount. Can you remember it was a percentage? I hope you all remember that. It's only before breakfast. I told you before the break, so I don't you all can forget that. Custom duty, right? Now, sometimes certain country, maybe Sri Lanka, they will say they want a certificate of to show the certificate of origin of the goods. Tell us from which country the goods are, right? Now, so what does the certificate of origin do? Certificate of origin says, like I told you, if the FTA and all, they need that no to allow them not to charge duty. If FTA, when they go FTA, they want a certificate of origin. If you want to say no, I don't have to pay duties under FTA. If you say tell the customs officer, customer will say okay, show me the document shows that this is Indian origin, right? So like that, right? Okay. So certificate of origin, which says where the goods have been manufactured. What is the origin of the goods? From where did the raw material go into the goods and where did it was manufactured? Who made it? Where? Which is the country? From where are the goods of which country? What origin is the goods of the country? Right. So then that certificate of origin they have to show. That's what you call document that shows the certificate of origin. This is normally it's a government document which is issued by like Chamber of Commerce and things like that, right? Not by the export itself. It's always like they have the Chamber of Commerce people. Then some other. Generally, it's like official document. So you get that the certificate of origin. Some countries require that. Then what you call certificate inspection. And now, we are exporting from China, and Mr. Silva is not very sure of whether this Chinese supply will ship the good items or quality items to him. Not very sure, right? So he thinks better to have. Now he can't go to China. No, Silva can't go to China to take the goods. No. So he thinks, how can I? Okay, maybe he has somebody known to him, right? A good friend or a relation, right? He will tell the Chinese supplier, my importer, look here, my friend, before you ship the goods, right, I want an inspection done, right, done by my brother-in-law who's in China. Okay, he will come and see. Right? Sometimes you can have brother-in-law in China, but your brother-in-law may not be conversant what the subject matter is, right? He may not know. He may be working in a bank and he won't know anything about a spare part, right? So no point getting a brother-in-law. So for this purpose, there are specialized inspection companies like SGS, Bureau Veritas, where if you go to the internet, you can see so many companies. And these companies are generally global companies, right? They have these offices all over the world, right? Right? They have offices all over the world. These are inspection. Their job is when a cargo is to be shipped and required by the importer, they'll go and inspect and give a certificate and they charge for that, right? So if Silva is not very happy with the Chinese supply, maybe he'll cheat me. Better to get a certificate by a competent authority like competent body like SGS or Bureau Veritas, right? So he'll say no. If you want me to make a payment, you must not only send me the BL, not only send me the commercial invoice, but also send me the origin I need. Plus, I want a certificate inspection done by these companies, SGS or Bureau Veritas or whatever. Understand? So then the importer is calling for a certificate of inspection. Can you see I told about documentary fraud? Now the exporter can also cheat and make a head and say this is a document by the SGS. They can do that, no? So what normally you can do is, if you want to be sure, you can go to the local office and tell them I wanted this request from my importer. can you please verify from your office in China and tell whether they issued a certificate like this, right? And can I get a copy like that, right? Okay, or whatever. Maybe they can, he can. Yeah, that's not. I'm not telling how to correct. That's why I'm not telling you. But I just said. So these are certain documents can be fraud, right? But let us forget. They say there's no fraud. Then the SGS or Bureaucrat issue a certificate. That is certificate of inspection. Then means certain. If you have heard of this. Like garments, they need a packing list, because people like places like states and all that, right? If you get a like Macy's or JCPenney or Tommy Hilfiger or something like that, you will get their departmental stores. If you have gone to, you'll find about 10 stores, right? And each store, each floor will have one type of clothes, right? You will say, okay, baby skits. Then teen skits, teen girls kits, then gents shirts, gents trousers, ladies dress, ladies shoes, whatever. Like that, they have, each floor will have one product. So what they do is they normally ask for a packing list to you. Say what are the items in the container you open. Front of the container, first as you open, you get the teenage things. Second is the gents. So it is easy for the importer, right? Like to straight away take those things and allocate it to that. Now, packing list is with him. Go. Third item is gents shirts. Send it direct to the third floor. This is teenagers. Send to the fifth floor. Like that, So sometimes how it's packed. Then for certain tea cartons, they want to know whether there's a carton, whether there's a hardboard carton, how it is packed. For various reasons, right? Packing. I just gave one example. So if the importer requires for his operation that a packing list, he can ask for a packing list, right? Then the other thing is, then sometimes the importer may say, no, I want a weight list, right? Weight list means you might have different size of cartons. In this carton, there's 2 kilos. In this carton, there's 1 kilo. In this carton, there's 5 kilos, right? Now it's put in a container. So I want to tell me how much. 500 cartons of 1 kilos, 200 cartons of that weight list, how much the weight each is, right? So that particular weight list in different ways that you want the weight list you can call, right? So that is what I think. That's all the documents I put here. Yeah, that was all, right? So these are the documents, few documents that are used in international trade. Now these documents are required. Now when I go on to payment methods, right? You need to know these documents. Base mainly what is a pro forma invoice, what's a commercial invoice, what's a bill of lading. Okay. Of course, certificate inspection regime technically also required. But say like major documents I can say is the commercial invoice, bill of exchange, and maybe the certificate regime required. But those documents required. But to explain payment methods, I think commercial invoice and the bill of lading are two important items, right? You should understand what those two are. Then you'll understand payment method. Now, what I'm telling payment method, You may wonder what is it if you're talking about payment method? What is it if you're talking payment method? I'll tell you what it is, right? Now we are going into what are payment methods. When an importer and exporter does a business, okay, they do a business, correct? There is the exporter, importer has to make the payment. No? Exporter has to make the payment. No, sorry. The importer has to make the payment to the exporter, right? Obviously, exporter is supplying the goods, no. Therefore, importer has to pay, no. So what are the methods that are available to pay these, right? I'm talking about 4 methods, okay? Cash with order, open account trading, documented collection, documented credits, right? These are the methods. Now, let us go to the first item, which is known as cash with order. It is known as advance payment or prepayment. You can paying pre or paying advance. Paying in advance or paying prepayment, both the same meaning, right? There you are paying. Now, what happens is exporter and importer. Now, exporter is in Sri Lanka, the importer is in Sri Lanka, exporter is in China. Right now, you see, unlike you see now if you go in locally, right, you go into a supermarket, like say Cargill's or keys or whatever. You go in, you take the cart, right? You take the cart, you go in, you pick up your things, you put it in the cart, okay, and pick out the best items. As you know, each shelf you go, you see the expiry date, and you know in front you'll have the expired ones that are going to get expired first. So you know the ones that are going to get expired later would have been put inside the shelf. So you put your hand inside and take the later expiry date items. Anyway, you fill your cart and then you come to the counter. Now the counter cashier is there at the supermarket. The counter cashier is there, right? Now, can you take the goods beyond the cashier? No, he will not allow. Okay? He'll say, I want the payment. Okay? A credit card or otherwise, I want the payment. Now, will you pay the cashier and then go without taking the goods? That what you won't do, right? Just go pay the cashier, you won't go without the goods, no? Right. So at that situation, what you do is, you will make the payment, okay? Like you see, you know, here the types on that cashier and gives you a bill, that is like invoice, right? Gives you and tells you how much you have to pay. Once you make the payment, that person will allow you to take the cart and go to your vehicle to load it. Okay. So there you see the buyer and the seller, payment and delivery of the goods, both are taking at the same time. Right? Because they are personally, they see each other. They're in close proximity to each other, and personally they can see each other. So the transaction is very simple. You give the cash, okay, and you take the goods and go. But in international trade transactions, there's a little complication. One person is in China, one person is in Colombo, right? Now, unlike the counter, there's no way you can stick the money to China, no? And either he can give overseas, he can give the goods. So there is a situation where either one person sends the money to the Chinese supplier or exporter, and then when he gets the money, the Chinese exporter will send the goods to the Colombo buyer, right? Right? Or the other way around, the Chinese exporter sends the goods to the importer in Sri Lanka, and then the importer sends the money to the exporter, right? Because there is a time lag due to the distance, and they are not personally facing each other. It's not practical. This happens, right? So in the advance payment method, what happens is, right, in the advance payment method, here the exporter will not, the exporter in China will not part with the goods till the importer makes a payment. Okay, the importer makes a payment, he'll not part with the goods. Understand? So, what does that mean? Supposing the importer sends the money to the exporter, right? And once the exporter gets the money, if the exporter does not ship the goods to the importer, what happens? Importer is going to lose. We sent the money, but importer did not get the goods. Importer lost. Okay. So, in the advance payment method, but that's a method that is permitted in the country. In normal or international trade local, you are allowed. This is one of the international payment method systems, which is also allowed in Sri Lanka, right? Of course, there are restrictions, which I think I don't have to go into restrictions, all that is not required. But I will limits and given limits and all that. But with certain restrictions, this payment method is allowed. Okay, $50,000, and I think that's not required. I'll go by only the term, right? Otherwise, I'll be losing time. We will not have enough time for me to even come next week, week out next. So now, what happens is this payment method, importer sends the money, and the risk that the importer takes is that he may not send the goods, right? Now, I'll just go to a diagram. I'll just show you, make it explain to you in a form of diagram, okay? You can see. Can you see this? Normally, for any trade, any transaction, whether we trade or whatever, any sales with local sales, or other, you sign a contract, no? That is, so you say this to sign a contract, agreeing to buy and sell and all this, sign that sales contract. That is what they do first, right? After doing that, in any sale, however the payment method may be, they sign a sales contract. That's natural, no? For to must have a contract to do anything, no? So that sales contract is signed, right? Now, after that, what does the importer do? Importer goes to his bank and deposits the money that the exporter wants, right? And tells the bank, please send the money to my exporter. He's supposed to send these goods to me. Correct. Now, see what happens. He goes on, assuming this is his bank, his local bank A. The local bank A will send the money to the exporter's bank, right? Exporter's bank. What does the exporter's bank do? Once you get the money, they'll give the money to the exporter. And once he gets the money, he will ship the goods, right? But the risk is after this item, number 4, whether number 5 will happen or not. That is the risk. Whether number 4 or 5 will happen or not. Now that's a risk, right? Now whether exporter will ship or not is a risk, right? So if he doesn't ship, okay, if he doesn't ship, okay, what happens? Then his money is lost. So that money lost because he shipped the money, but this has not happened. This has not happened. So but is it a loss only for him? Is it only for him? No, it's not. Do you think anybody else loses? Exporter, does he lose? I don't think he loses. He got the money, he didn't part of it, he has got goods and he got the money also. So it can't be lost to him now. But just a small thing to tell you about this, like we did in macro about the imports and export volumes and dollars. See, this import of Sri Lanka, he has Sri Lanka rupees. Okay. Now he'll come and give his bank and say, I want to send $100,000 to my Chinese paper supplier. Okay. Now he'll give to his bank $100,000 equivalent in rupees. That's here, rupees, no? Right. So what does the bank do? The bank takes that money, okay, and then will send the money. What will they send? Will they send rupees here? No. They will send $100,000 to this exporter's bank. Okay. Once they send the exporter's bank $100,000, that money will be given to the exporter, whatever commission, all that I want to touch on, how much they deduct and all that. That's if we'll say $100 given to him. Right? Now what happened to him? This number 5 has not happened. Goods have not come. He has lost what? $100,000 equivalent in rupees. He has lost. Who the importer has lost? $100,000 equivalent in rupees. He has lost. Okay. But what happened to anything else happened? Yes. Even though he gave rupees, the bank sent out dollars, which is the countries earn dollars, right? We should have dollars to send. No? Central bank is controlling. So the bank sent the $100,000, and then what happened? It did not come. So no goods came. To compensate for the $100,000 sent, the country has not got. If importer gets it, the country has got it now. Has not got any goods, right? So therefore, the country also loses $100,000. Get the point? So there is this method is allowed, but there are restrictions like $50,000 and things. All that I think this how much the limitation on that. So what happens really is, what you must understand is, under advance payment, only what happens, the risk taken by the buyer is that the goods may not be shipped by the exporter, but exporter gets the money. Also, that not only the exporter, the country also loses $100,000, which is the hard-earned money. So is $100,000 allowed? Okay, all that is there in the regulations. They are $50,000. I don't have to go into detail all that. But remember, there's a control, there's a limitation, and there's a control, guarantee, and all this. I will not go into the regulatory side of it because then I will take more time on this. So, but there is a, if his item is $50,000, on how to get another guarantee, all that I don't think is required. But for the moment, to understand what is advance payment, advance payment is that the importer has to send the money first to the exporter, and then the exporter is supposed to send the goods to the importer. But that depends, the risk taken is the importer may not be sure whether he will get the goods from the exporter. And the other risk is that even the country also loses the money. Okay? Is that clear? Very simple, very simple. That is one. Right? Then let us go to the next one. Now, the second method of payment is called open account. Okay? Open account is opposite of prepayment or advance payment. Now, what happens here is the other way around. I'll go to the diagram straight away. Right? Here, the exporter, the importer, they sign the sales contract. I told you, anything, whatever the way they do, they have to sign the sales contract. That's normal, right? You know it. In the previous clip you saw that this was number 5. Last, what happens, right? The number 5. But now this has become number 2. First, you sign the contract, that is normal as anything. Then the exporter sends the goods. Can you see? Exporter sends the goods. He ships the goods. Once he gets the goods, what he does is, he will go and give the money to his bank, like the advance payment he did. After getting the goods, that before getting the advance payment, he did that before getting the goods, he went and get the bank. Now here, after getting the goods, he will go and give the bank the money, right? And the bank will send it to his bank, and his bank will return it, right? Now, once the importer gets the goods, okay, right, he can stay without doing this part. 3, 4, 5, take place. He just takes the goods and just keeps quiet. Right? Right? Now, in this case, who is running the risk? The risk is being run by the exporter. He has parted with the goods. Right? He has parted with the goods. Goods are gone. Now left his port. We say China port coming to Sri Lanka, coming to this is, we say China port here. The outside part is China port, and this is the Sri Lankan port. Right? Now goods are coming, like process coming there, shipping coming there, coming here. Right? Now, so in this case, the risk is run by the exporter because he has part. Now, what do you think about the importer? No, he gains. He imported, he did not pay, he has the money and he has goods. What about the country? Country did not pay the $100,000. He did not tell to pay, right? He did not tell the bank to pay. Bank did not pay 100,000, and the bank, and not only that, although he got the goods, it is the country now. The country has got spare parts worth $100,000 without paying anything. Thanks to the importer. Do you think this is okay? So if a importer can hoodwink another exporter in any country, right, and get them to send the goods on an open account basis and stay without paying, then does the who benefits? Is it only the importer? No, not only the importer. The country also got the goods worth of $100,000 and did not pay. So country is also rich by $100,000. So what do you think? Incentives should be given for people like this, importers, to try to whoever hoodwinks export and gets goods and doesn't need the paying. There's an incentive by the government for that. Our country has gained foreign currency. Is that the attitude? Will that be the policy? Is that the regulation? Central bank says any importer who can import from export and stay without paying, he'll be given a award and then also some rebate also, right? No, it cannot happen, right? Because what happens is when you get exporters start sending goods to Sri Lanka and Sri Lanka doesn't make the payment, right? If the import doesn't make the payment, it very badly impacts on the image of the country. So much so that they will boycott our country and they will not send any exports to our country. They will not export anything to our country. So what do you think? Well, our important items like the infrastructure goods, then the materials, then the building materials, the fuel, intermediary goods, the fuel, the garments, the textile to make garments, all that may not come. And our economy can collapse. So that is not a good thing. It's not a good image for the country. So importers are not allowed to do things like that. Even though open account is allowed, that if you have an agreement with exporter, yes, he can send goods to you, you can pay him later. But don't try to run away without paying. You will be penalized. How do they do it is, now this guy, you can see, I just explained that to you also, right? Now can you see here? This person, he has shipped the goods, right? Now goods have come to the port. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I hope you can see. We'll say it has come to the port, or we'll take this is a port. We'll say this is a port. I hope you can see this part. Right? This is the port, this is a sea. Ship has come and parked it, right? Now the importer comes. Now remember, in this another very important thing that you should remember, right? In open account, I told you, commercial invoice. Okay, we'll add another document, like the origin and the bill of lading. What happens is, once the shipment is done, we say this China, right? He goes and ships, now he got the BL. Now the exporter gets the BL, puts his commercial invoice, puts a certificate of origin, right, if required, and then sends it direct by mail or courier or whatever to the importer, right? Now what does the importer have in hand? He has a bill of lading, he has a commercial invoice, he has a certificate of origin. So what does he do? He takes those documents, go to the port in Colombo, gives it to the captain, and clears the goods. Because the exporter has sent the importer the BL, the invoice, and the certificate of origin, as a requirement to say, to him direct. So he can go just clear it, take the goods, bring it home, keep it, and not pay. Now, and when a country goes to see bad for the image of the country, what they do is, normally, practically, what happens when he goes here, right? He goes to the port, right? And then he gives the BL, all that is done. Now he's coming to customs. Now I told you, customs checks him. Then they'll ask him, hello, mister, where do you get? Sir, I'm working on an open account and my exporter has sent me the goods and I'm going to make the payment in 2 months' time. Then the customer will say, yes, okay, Mr. Silva, you're saying you're going to make the payment in 2 months' time. So which bank are you going to make the payment? I say, okay, my bank is bank ABC, it's in Colombo. I'm going to make it through ABC, right? Then he'll ask, so the commercial invoice is $100,000. You're going to pay $100,000. Yes, that's the amount the exporter asked me. That is what I'm going to remit, right? Now, under the present situation, okay, this is a port now. The port, right, and his bank, importer's bank, has a link, computer link. Okay. So when the customs officer authorizes him to take the goods and go, okay, what he does is, what the customer does is, he will input into the system that on this date, Silva and Company imported $100,000 worth of goods, right, on an open account basis, and the payment will be made through ABC Bank, Sri Lanka, right, in 2 months or whatever. So that is in the system. Now, if 2 months lapses and the importer is a genuine guy, he will come to his bank. He'll come to his bank to make the payment, right? When he comes to the bank to make his payment, the bank will say, look here, manager, I imported some goods for $100,000 and now I want to make the payment to my supplier in China. Now the manager will think, this man is trying to send dollars out of the country. Is he telling the truth? What if I send the money out of the country and he has not bought any imports? Country has not got anything. No goods. He's trying to totally send foreign currency out of the country. But give me a lie. Telling lies to me, right? How do I know whether he really has done a shipment or not? What if so it's not correct. He's trying to send out dollars, hard-earned dollars, trying to slowly send it out to another country. So I will send the dollars and the country will lose and nothing is coming. He's just trying to send foreign currency. Then the manager say, oh, yes, Mr. Silva, when did you do this? Let's just give a minute and he'll go to the computer and he'll check, right? He will check the link between him and the port, he'll check, okay? He'll check the link and then we'll see, yes, the customs 2 months ago has put an entry here saying that you imported $100,000 and that will make the payment, okay? All right, that's genuine transaction. You're not just trying to send money abroad, but I can see that customs has confirmed that you imported the goods. Customs has confirmed that goods came to the country. So value has come to the country, $100,000 worth of goods came to the country. So nothing but right that the exporter should get paid, right? So then the bank will make the payment. By that, the bank will know that they are not just getting cheated by him by sending dollars of the country just out for nothing. Well, there is. If there is not in the link, they will not pay, right? Of course, there are other procedures. Don't worry about how much other procedures, cust deck and this and that. No, don't worry about that, right? I don't have to go detail. Just assume that it was there and the bank is happy and the bank will make the remittance, right? Okay. Now, that is if he paid no. Now, after a period of time, right, the customs will check this list and see. Now, if the payment, Mr. Silva and Company imported in January, yes, they are paid in March. That is ticked off. Very good. Then Mr. Pereira and Company imported in April, but now it is April in 2019 and today is April 2020. He has still not made this payment. Oh, exporter must be furious. He must be angry with us that done. Then they'll mark that. So they'll check that list like that to see how many people have paid reasonably and how many people have not paid and unreasonable time has lapsed. Then what they'll do is they'll write to those people and tell them to come and see the officers and they'll give an explanation as to why you imported such as a day. Up to date, you're not made the payment. It's being disrepute to the country. They'll think we are cheaters. What have you done? And then they will give explanation. They will see them. They say, no, it's like this. The goods came, but the goods are not good. And I have agreement with the buyer that he's with the seller, with the exporter, saying that for me to hold the payment and he'll deduct slowly from the other goods, whatever. Explanation can be so many, I don't know, right? But whatever explanation they give, if they are satisfied, they will say, okay, we understand, and they'll monitor and see what is the matter is settled. But if they see that if they're willfully defaulting, then they'll blacklist that importer. So that is how the country protects its image. Okay, that's what I want to say. Right? You're correct. Understood? Okay. Now I told you what is open account. I told you what is advance payment. One goes against the other. If you go open account, disadvantage to the exporter. Why? Because he is in the goods, importer might not pay. Right? If you say advance payment, importer sends the money, exporter might not send goods, the gain loss. Right? So how do we overcome this? So to overcome this, there is another third method. You don't know? Remember the third method? Oh, I done this. Advancement done. Open account done. Ready? Now we go to documentary collections. Right? Now, open it. Right? Now then they came up now how to solve this problem in this open account importer is okay, exporter is at disadvantage. Advance payment, importer is at disadvantage, exporter is okay. How to solve this, right? So they came up with a solution called documentary collection. Okay. Now to solve this issue. Now, do you think that documentary collection method will solve the problem? Will it solve the problem? What is the answer we give? Say you're not, you don't know anything about documentary. I not told you anything about it. But will this solve the problem? And you ask to give an answer. What will you say? I'll give you the answer for this, but don't write it in the exam. It's not what what is expected, but just for some to break the monotony. See, I'll take you back, right? Okay. Now see, there are four methods, First has a disadvantage, second one came disadvantage, third one has come. Document collection. You don't know what it is. By asking question, is this a good one, good solution to solve this problem? The third one. Now you don't know. Yeah, and I'm asking you, is it a good method of payment? You can make one answer. You can say, I don't know what is document collection is, but you have given four methods, First one you said there's problem, second one is a problem, then third one you came up with, right? Document collection. I think document collection is also not a good solution. Why is that? Because there's a fourth one called document credits. If document collection solve the problem between importer and exporter, then I don't think document credits would have come in. So therefore, the answer is that document collection also is not a good solution, right? Is document credits a good solution? You say yes, that's a good solution because after document credit, there's nothing else. That one is the best, right? But don't give answers like that. I'll just to break the monotony I told you, right? Simple answer, yes. Document is not a good one. Why? Because you told this is one is not good, you made two, two is not good, you made three. So three also may not be good, that's why I made four. Is four good? Yes, four is good because after four there's no five, right? But no, that's not the answer. Okay. Just now we'll go back to document collection. Now, what is document collection? I don't know whether we will complete the full document collection, but let's try. In document collection, I'll go to, let me do it. Now the document collection, I'll take it. Get this, Don't have to get excited. You see, oh, come on, there's so many arrows. No, that one, other two had very simple arrows. These arrows going here and there. What is this, right? No, don't worry. It's a simple thing. You know, so far, in this clip of what diagram what I'm showing, I assure you that you know more than 80% of what it is, right? It is that balance 20% that I have to tell you about document collection. That's all, nothing else. Right, now here see. This is the seller, this is the buyer. Okay? Sales contract, I told you, one. Right? So in documented collection, the exporter will export the goods, will ship the goods. That part takes place. This is similar to what part? This is similar to open account. The exporter ships the goods without getting the money. Is it as advance payment? Does the exporter ship the goods without getting the money? No. In advance payment, the exporter gets the money and then ships. In open account, the exporter ships the goods without getting the money and then waits for the money. Okay. So that part, the number two is same to the open account. Yeah, what is happening? Goods are getting shipped. Without getting the money, he's shipping, right? Now you wonder what is happening. But in open account, one point I told you, you remember very well, the commercial invoice, remember, and the bill of lading. How important is bill of lading? Without the bill of lading, the buyer will not be able to get the money from the captain of the ship, right? That is the title document. Now, in documentary collection, first part, like open account, the exporter ships the goods without getting the money. Ship goods, okay, gone, left the port, gone to China, come to. But the second part in open account was the commercial invoice and the bill of lading is sent direct to the importer, which will help him to go and just get the goods cleared and stay the paying. No, in this case, that will not happen. Once they ship the goods, that invoice, that commercial invoice, the bill of lading and certificate of origin, he won't send it direct to the importer. He doesn't send. What does he do? He sends it to the to his bank, exporter's bank. Here, number 3, right? And from here, from the exporter's bank, it's sent to the importer's bank, right? Okay, it's sent to the importer's bank. Then, oops, it's sent to the documents into the, you can see this one, document into the importer's bank. Okay, yeah, documents sent. Number 4, documents and covering schedule sent to the collecting bank, right? Then from the importer's bank, the document come here. Now, when it comes to the importer's bank, right? Now, when he sends the bill of lading, commercial invoice to this bank will he'll put a letter. He'll put a covering letter to the bank, right? He'll say, look here, manager, you're my manager, you're my banker, you're my manager. Please, I have done a shipment to Mr. Silva in Sri Lanka for $100,000, and I am sending you here with the commercial invoice, the bill of lading, and the certificate of origin, which you please send it to the importer's bank. But please mention in your letter to the importer's bank that the importer's bank must not hand over the bill of lading, commercial invoice, and the certificate of origin to the importer, which is Mr. Silva in this case, without getting $100,000 money from or money from him. So if he pays $100,000 equivalent rupees to them, only you can give it. Now see, now what has happened? So it comes here. Now the bill of lading, commercial invoice, and the certificate of origin are stuck here in the importer's bank. Now goods have come to Colombo, will say, right? But can he go and take it? No, Silva can't go and take it. Why can't he go and take it? Because what happens is he must have the BL, he must have the commercial invoice, he must have certificate. All of the customs, the captain will ask for the BL, but the customs officer will ask for the invoice, how much you're going to pay, and where the certificate of origin he has. So he doesn't have all those documents, right? So he can't. First of all, he can't get, captain will not give the goods, so there's no point about the commercial invoice, not relevant because he doesn't get. So what does he do? He will, then when the documents come here, the importer's bank will inform Mr. Silva. Hello, Mr. Silva, your friend China and Company, Ching and Company from China has sent me the BL, certificate of origin and commercial invoice, and told me to give this to you against your payment of $100,000. That's what the commercial invoice says, right? Then what Ching will do, Silva will do is, he will come to the bank, pay the $100,000, okay, pay the $100,000 in rupees, whatever in agreement, and then once it does that, the bank, importer's bank will give the documents to him. Give the documents means the commercial invoice, certificate of origin, and BL, what was sent by the exporter, will be given, and then what he will do is, he will go and pay the goods. Now he has a BL, he paid the money, he has the BL, he will go and pay the money, give the BL, and get the goods. Give the customs, pay the duty, and take back goods home, right? The money that they got, they'll remit like this through him, through their bank to him. He gets the money and he gets the goods, right? So this solves the problem where exporter gets his money and importer gets the goods, right? Maybe importer include a certificate of inspection also in this to ensure the goods are good, all that may be, right? So he gets the goods, right? Now see what happened. Now that problem solved, right? Now you will think, what does this mean? The problem is solved. What is the problem in this transaction? Doesn't look anything wrong. Why is the document credits there? Right? There must be something, some catch in this, right? Okay, we'll see that later. Now you saw it. Now in this case, right? Okay, this is the seller, this is the buyer. The bank that the exporter's bank who handles the collection. Now, when you send documents, the document has come on collection, they come and given and told to collect the money. So that's not document collection. Collect the money. Give the document, collect. Give the document, collect the money. So document collection, right? Now, when he says that, now this bank that handles the exporter's bank that handles the collection, export bank known as remitting bank. This is just for you to know the parties, huh? And the importer's bank who gives the documents to him, right, to the importer to get the money is known as the collecting bank, right? Okay. Anyway, I'll show you that. I'll show you this slide. And also, now this system involves the banks, no? But remember, this involves banks. So when banks are handling documentary collection bills, payment method involving documents, getting payment, all that involved, it can happen. It's a global activity. I told you, it's a very global activity, right? So because of that, they normally say, now when he sends the letter, please give and please note that all these transactions, the bank will write to the local bank, say, all transactions should be according to the ICC rules, right? So ICC rules, is known as the 522. Okay, the present revision in 19 number 522. That is the ICC rules 522. What applies to document collections? Okay, for the all about when it started, all that is not required, but and there are 26 articles in that. Okay, what are the what articles? I'll go through some of the important articles, but there are 26 articles in this for in collections, right? Now, and I told you rules are coming. Here rules come here. So banks must be conversant of what to do, right? Okay. Then comes the article. There are 26 articles. No, the article 3 in that collection of the ICC articles. Third refers to the parties to a collection, right? Parties are the principal is the exporter who is the party interested in handling of the collection to a bank. Is anyway. So generally the exporter will be the principal. Remitting bank will be exporter's bank. I told you already, right? Exporter's bank will be the collecting bank, right? The exporter's bank, remitting bank, and collecting bank is the importer's bank. When he hands over the documents to him, they will send it to him. So this is a remitting bank, this is a collecting bank, right? And presenting bank, generally the collecting bank and the presenting bank are the same. Okay. Sometimes, now say for example, if a bank A has a branch, international bank A has a branch in Sri Lanka, branch A, Sri Lanka branch, but the customer's account is with another bank called Bank B in Sri Lanka. So the bank, exporter's bank A might send the documents to their local office bank A local, and then they are not collecting the money direct, right? They are sending it to the importer's bank, who is bank B, and importer's bank only will present documents, right? So then that is the presenting bank. The bank that is presenting to get the money will be the importer's bank, very important bank. But generally, in most cases, the collecting bank and presenting bank are the same, right? Drawee, bill of exchange. In a bill of exchange, you make a payment. The drawee is a person who has to pay. Now, in this case, who has to pay? The person who has to pay is the importer. So he is known as the drawee, right? So this is just for you to understand who are the parties to a collection. Okay. Now going back on this, I'll tell you. Wait. Right now here, like this, he is the drawee. He is a principal, he is a remitting bank and crediting bank. He only presents. Now normally only another bank here who will present, send to that bank and then to that bank to him. So that in that area, but normally present bank is the collecting bank, right? This is how it's done. So now that the article I showed you, right? It's clear, okay? Now, collection instruction means now when the documents are handed over by the exporter, when the documents are handed over by the exporter to his bank, he must tell what are you supposed to do with documents, send this to the importer's bank and tell the importer's bank not to release without taking $100,000, right? Going on that data sent to them, they'll put their letter to this bank, right? Saying, look here, our customers so as Ching and company exported so much of goods, and that has to go. You have to give this to Mr. Silva and Mr. Silva and company, and they have to be 100,000. That is instruction. What to do? How to handle those documents? What to do? Instructions. That is what you call the collection instructions, right? Okay. Now all this article I don't think is very much important. It says that, but here all in place, but the main crux of the matter here is, right? These two banks, okay, they are handling anything they do is without their responsibility. Documents come, what the documents are, they will not check, they'll send it here and they'll send it there, right? Then he'll have to contact and ask him, right? Now, even in this case, now if the documents are sent here and sent here $100,000, right? And if he does not pay, they are not responsible. None of the bank. No involvement of the banks to make any payments. No obligation of payment at all by the remitting bank or the collecting bank. They are not involved. They are not. They are only acting as agents, or we can call as post officer, whatever you want to say, right? Then I'll take another important. Right now, before I come to this, right now, what is the? I think you will now tell me. So, what is the problem in this now? He's getting the money, he's getting the documents. So, what's the issue here? What is the issue here? Before I come to tell you what the issue is, in this document collection, there are two types, right? DP and DA. I'll just touch on this DP, DA little, okay? DP means documents against payment, okay? DA means documents against acceptance, okay? What that means is, right, what it means really is, here, can you see he sent it, he sent the document, sent here and said, don't release documents to him without getting the payment, okay? That means only against payment of $100,000 will the importer get the documents. So that means that is known as documents against payment. He will get the documents only if he pays the amount. Okay, that is what you call documents against payment, right? Right. Having said that, what is DA? DA means, now see this person, he's sending documents to him regularly and he's paying and taking, right? Paying and taking, right? Now, after some time when their relationship is a bit okay, right? Yeah, he has a little trust in him, right? He might say, look here, my friend, you are sending me always documents on a DP basis, that is documents against payment. I am paying and taking from you. I am paying my money and taking from you. But when I am wholesaler, when I sell to my retail, the other smaller guys from out, my distributors, they want 3 months credit, they want 4 months credit, right? Now the market situation is quite difficult and I find it a bit difficult to handle this, right? So can you give me a little help? So he's asking, what is the help that you want? He's asking, right? You're asking for help. What is the help you want? You know, when you send the documents like this to me, right? Instead of telling me to immediately pay, right? Can you give me a little credit period to pay later? I will take your documents, go to the port, clear the goods, right? And give a little time where I can collect some money from the market and then pay you. Don't immediately ask me always, immediately you send the document, please pay and take, please pay and take. That DP, I can't handle DP. I'm finding it very difficult to do DP because document is payment. Can we do on DA basis? That is, the importer is asking the exporter for a credit period. Asking, can you give me little credit, right? A period. So sometimes he might think, okay, this guy is quite a good guy, and my goods also getting good market share. He's buying my goods. If I say no, maybe he'll go to another supplier. So I may have to accommodate him. So he will say he agrees to give him credit, say 60 days, for example. Right. Now, 60 days means now when the documents come here, right? If it is 60 days documents against acceptance, okay, he will get the BL and the commercial and the security without making payment. But the exporter say, please don't give him, don't take money from him, but at least take a letter of undertaking that he will pay after 60 days. So the bank is responsible to take a letter from him and that he'll pay for it and then give the, not give the, ask for money. Or sometimes there are cases where he will also say, "Na, can you?" I said, draw a bill of exchange, drawn on him, the drawing. Where the bill of exchange, he will send it to him, and he will have to accept that bill. He'll have to accept that bill. The bill of exchange comes from him, comes to him. The bank say, "Come here. There's a bill of exchange with us, which says that you have to pay after 60 days. Okay, please stamp on that. You will pay after 60 days, and that's a financial document. And then I will give you the BL and the second origin and the invoice, right? So it can be by way of a letter of undertaking, or it can be by way of a bill of exchange, whatever the document. Anyway, the importer has to give the document. Okay, has to give him the document, right here. So DA means the exporter gives some period, and the importer comes to the importer's bank and takes the documents, but not by paying cash, either by giving a letter of undertaking or signing the bill of countersigning the bill of exchange, saying that I'll pay such a deal. Right? Then what happens? Once that is given, after that is given, he'll go and clear. Then after maturity, on the 60th day, his bank will go, "Hi, Mr. Silva, how are you doing? Fine. Do you know tomorrow is the due date of that bill? You talk to Mr. Ching and company. You have to make the money. You have to make the payment to him, right?" Then he says, "Oh, really? Tomorrow? Okay, but bank is saying, today we checked your account. Your account doesn't have money. How can we send?" Right? Oh, yeah. I understand. Next day, due date has come, and now his bank has checking the account. There's no money in the account, right? So, Mr. Silva, what are you doing? Today's the due date. I had make your money in your no money account. Please put money. Sorry, no, I can't put now money. I just don't have money. I'm not connected enough. Then what the importer's bank will do is they'll go back to the exporter bank and say, "Look here, your bill you gave me, I gave him. You told to take a letter of undertaking. I took it. Now today due date, he's saying that he has no money." Then he'll go back and tell the exporter, "Look here, you send the documents. He has now the importer's bank has come back to us saying that he has no money to pay." Of course, there will be hassle. Will go on for hassle for a long time. He may say pester the money, then we'll ask pestering on the bank. He will pester. Finally, what happens is, right? What happens is, it's not paid, right? Now remember, this bank took an undertaking from him that he'll pay. Now, if it is not paid at maturity, remember this, there is no obligation whatsoever, no obligation at all for the importer's bank to make the payment to the exporter. Nor does the exporter's bank have any obligation to pay the exporter. So these two banks have no obligation to make payment at all, right? If they get the money, yes, I'll get you. If I don't get the money, both of them are not responsible. Documents against payment, yes, you can send me the documents. I told him, right? Gives the money, I'll pay you. Otherwise, no, right? So in this collection, right? Okay, there can be a situation where money is not paid and these two banks will not be responsible. Okay. Now, then what is the shortcoming in this in this method of payment? Right? Right? Okay, now what happens? So, the drawback is now he will sign a sales contract, contract, no point in just a paper. And he will, the risk is, with the risk that I'm telling you, I will stop, okay? And after that, we'll continue next week, but I'll tell you what the risk is. Risk is here. Now see, he has on the what on the assurance of the importer, he has, we'll say, dolls or China or spare parts or whatever. This Chinese guy, he has gone and maybe he's selling second-hand or manufacturing spare parts. He got the factory production, he got the people, the laborers, he got a couple of days of production time lost, and then he got the goods, manufactured the goods, and then shipped it. Now it has come by ship, it has come all that way to Colombo. It's in Colombo now, right? It's in Colombo. The ship has come. And now he has sent the documents. We'll say DP, document against payment. He cannot get it without paying, right? Now all that effort is taken. Yes, maybe the Chinese the export has paid the freight. I told you the ship has paid that cost also, right? And maybe insurance also covered. Everything come here, right? And then now it has come. When the importer's bank informed him that there is a document for $100,000, what does he say? He says, "Oh yeah, I told to send. Has he sent it? Yes, he sent you. He wants $100,000 into his bank." He said, "No, man. Actually, now I thought that hotel business is much more lucrative. Restaurant business. I have stopped. Doing spare parts. Okay, and now I am in the restaurant business. So please tell Mr. Ching, thank you very much for sending it, but that I don't want his goods, right?" Now what happens? So if he doesn't, now the goods he manufactured, all that effort to factory, manufacturers, pay the labor, all that production, pay the freight, goods have come to Sri Lanka. Okay. Now, when the bank informed him about $100,000 to pay, what does he say? "No, I don't want the goods." Now, if he says, "I don't want the goods," is he going to pay $100,000? I don't think there's anybody who will do that. Pay $100,000 and say, "Don't want the goods." So if he's not going to take the goods, he's not going to pay the $100,000. So if he doesn't pay the $100,000, bank is not going to send it to him. Neither is the bank going to give it him. So what happens? He is at loss. Now, even though he sends the documents to the bank, through the bank, not like open account, direct, right? He will say, "No, I am not taking his goods and not saying that. I am not like open account. I'm not doing a bad thing like that where I take the goods and I don't pay. No, I don't want the goods. Neither do I want. I am not going to pay because the BLN coming here on the collection they come like this." So then what has happened? Now you can see that there is a risk to the exporter in that, not like open account where he has taken the goods and not paying, but to the extent that when the goods are sent, he can reject the goods. If he rejects the goods, he will not pay. So if he doesn't pay, then money won't come to him. Now he has manufactured, spent all that money on manufacturing, pay the laborers, pay the cost, pay the taxes, all that, send this, and now the goods are in Colombo port, right? Okay? And he doesn't get the money. So what is the alternative? He's at loss. Okay? Goods are in. So what happens to the goods in the port? Now, he's not taking it, right? But remember I told you, if he doesn't pay, this bank or this bank is not responsible. They are not involved in any payment obligations. Okay? It's between these two. So if he doesn't pay, goods are in the port. So what happens if the goods are in the port? what will happen? There will be demurrage, right? And imagine if he has to, what can he do? He has to do the reshipment. Okay. Reshipment cannot be done because it will be a big cost to him. Understand? So therefore, and if he doesn't take the goods, demurrage will start incurring, and eventually the demurrage level is go much higher. What the port will do is they will auction the goods and recover the demurrage charges, and he gets nothing. So this is the risk that you get in document collection. You saw the risk. Now you know document collection also not a very safe method. That is why you have a thing called a documented credit, right? Before that, before I come to that, next week I'll tell you what I'll tell you what is case of need and what is evaluation. Okay, these two parts I'll explain to you nicely next time. I'll do these two on collection, and then we will after that we can go on to document credits, right? That will do. So next week we are going to start with case of need. Okay, understand? We are going to case of need. Clear? Okay, guys, shall I stop there for today? Yes, I'll stop there for today and have a great balanced weekend with your families. And let's meet. Sorry, not next week. I am not in Colombo. We'll meet week after next. God bless. Thank you.